looking for a sweep in Colorado. It's D-backs baseball, brought to you by Sanderson Ford. It's been a pair of typical Coors Field games so far. The home runs have been flying, and today it's Zach Godley against lefty Kyle Freeland as the D-backs go for the sweep on Fox Sports Arizona. Good afternoon from Coors Field, and welcome to the broadcast. Steve Berthume, Bob Brenly along the way. D-backs looking to close out this road trip by taking all three games here in Colorado, where the baseballs have been flying. It's hot here, hot again today, temps in the upper 90s, and these two teams have combined to hit 6 home runs in each of the first 2 games of this series. And Bob, last night it was a home run duel between Goldie and Trevor Story that ended a little ugly.
Yeah, you hate to see it end that way. It was a very competitive ball game last night. As you mentioned, a lot of offense, ball just flying out of here, including Paul Goldschmidt, who hit a tape measure blast to right center over the bullpen out there. Later in the ball game, a 3-run homer right down the line. This is Trevor Story, who had a couple of bombs himself. And even with the humidor, we're seeing the ball absolutely leaping out of Coors Field in this series. The high temperatures, a little bit of wind helping the hitters, but you just hate to see it end the way it did. That was Goldie hitting a hanging breaking ball from Chad Bettis out to left field. That ball was in the air for about 15 seconds before finally landing in the left field bleachers. And then this.
Intentional or not?
In my mind, absolutely is intentional. I mean, it's always a possibility the pitch could have slipped. They were trying to pitch Goldie inside, but I don't think there's any doubt, certainly in the Diamondbacks' mind, that that was intentional.
It happened with the bases empty in the 9th inning of a blowout game. It certainly smelled a little fishy to the D-backs, who will try and sweep the Rockies here. First pitch is coming up on Fox Sports Arizona.
Fall on Fox Sports Arizona is brought to you by CenturyLink, connecting you to the power of the digital world.
And also brought to you by Jack in the Box. This season, Diamondback home runs score free Jumbo Jacks only at Jack in the Box.
By APS. APS works 24/7 to keep you plugged in, powered up, and connected. And by your Valley Honda dealer, where you'll get more standard features for less money.
Fox Sports Arizona is brought to you by Jack in the Box. This season, D-backs home runs score free Jumbo Jacks only at Jack in the Box. By BJ's Restaurant and Brewhouse. Visit bjsrestaurants.com to find a location near you. By One AZ Credit Union, let's bank together. And by Gila River Hotels and Casinos. The card by Gila River Casinos earns you rewards 10 times faster than ever before. Sign up for the card today. Well, that May malaise is a distant memory. The D-backs have won 8 of their last 11, 22 home runs over that span, including 7 in the first 2 games here. First pitch is next. .93 right now, could get as high as 97, 98 later this afternoon. Welcome in, it's D-backs baseball, brought to you by Sanderson Ford. Steve Berthune, Bob Brenly, Jody Jackson with you as the D-backs look for a 3-game series sweep in Colorado. We begin the day 5 over 500 and 2.5 games clear of the field atop the NL West. Here's the D-backs starting lineup today. That's presented by your Valley Chevy dealers.
John Jay once again leading it off out in right field. Nick Ahmed at shortstop. Paul Goldschmidt, the red-hot Paul Goldschmidt, down at first base. John Ryan Murphy doing the catching this afternoon. Ketel Marte will be at second base. Chris Owens slides over to left field today. Gerard Dyson in center. Devin Marrero at third base, and Zach Godley, the right-hander, on the mound.
Goldie's certainly the focus of this series so far. He's hit 4 home runs in 2 games. Does that have anything to do with your Valley Honda dealers' key to the game?
Key to the game after winning the first 2 is sweep! Keep it simple. That's what Goldie's doing at the plate right now. Get a good pitch, put a good swing on it, all those cliches that you hear post-game, but Goldie just tries to keep it as simple as possible.
He's all smiles right now. It was definitely not the case after he got plunked by Brooks Pounders in the 9th inning last night. Took one right in the ribs on the first pitch of the at-bat.
And about as much emotion as you'll ever see from Paul Goldschmidt. He wasn't waving his arms or yelling and screaming. He just expressed his feelings to the catcher, Tony Walters, and the home plate umpire, and then went on down to first base like he usually does. But Paul Goldschmidt was visibly upset with that plunking last night.
And so were his teammates. We'll see if there's some retaliation. We'll use that word here today. Your Ram Truck starting pitcher for Colorado, left-hander Kyle Freeland, who just turned 25 years old last month. D-backs facing him for the first time this year. And he's pitching pretty well right now. He's won 5 of his last 6 starts.
Not sure if this is saying much, but he's the best starter in the rotation for the Rockies right now. His 6 wins since April 24th are tied for the most in the major leagues. As you can see, he was 0-5 before that.
As they like to say around here, they're calling it the Rockies Horror Pitcher Show.
Ooh.
Which is getting a lot of traction considering the way they've performed. E.D. Marshall Jewelers has a look around the diamond at the Colorado defense today.
Former D-back Gerardo Parr out in left field. Charlie Blackmon in center. Noel Cuevas getting the start for Cargo in right field once again this afternoon. Nolan Arenado at third base. Trevor Story and DJ LeMahieu make up the double play combo up the middle. Ian Desmond will be at first base with Chris Iannetta behind the plate for left-hander Kyle Freeland.
Ed Hickox is back there for the umpires, taking care of the balls and strikes. The crew chief, Jerry Meals, is our first base ump. Chris Siegel's at second, and Gabe Morales is at third.
Facing the left-hander Kyle Freeland, the Diamondbacks are 15-8 against left-handed starters this year. That's the best record in the National League, second only to the Yankees in all of Major League Baseball.
Got some right-hand bats in there for Torey Lovullo today, but John Jay will start it off from the left-hand side as the D-backs look for what would be a very big 3-game sweep here in Colorado. Right now, 2.5 games ahead of the rest of the NL West. There's a 3-way tie for second. The Rockies, the Dodgers, and the Giants are all even this year, 2.5 back. And the Padres are within shouting distance as well. So here we go, D-backs and Rockies, Jay and Freeland, and we're underway. Beautiful day here in Denver. Jay was hit by pitches twice last night. Nobody raised a fuss. Took a couple in the leg. He has a knack for that. And Bob, we haven't seen Freeland yet this year. We've seen him before. And when you get Kyle Freeland, you get this sort of weird Karate Kid sweep the leg delivery going.
Yeah, and he's tried to alter it a little bit. Much like Goldie trying to simplify his approach at the plate. Same thing for Freeland out there on the mound. He had a Clayton Kershaw-like. He'd lift his leg and then drop his leg and then stride toward home plate. A lot of moving parts before he was ready to release that pitch.
Now he has that big pause with that front leg hanging out about belt high. 2-2 to John Jay.
Yeah, he says that pause allows him to load on his backside and then go straight down the mound to his target ideally.
Fastball misses up, and it's a full count, 3-2. This is the type of bat that they want from John Jay, a guy who doesn't strike out a whole lot. Works the count, sees a lot of pitches. Nick Ahmed on deck. Good take right there, a leadoff walk. Bud Black, since he's been here, has constantly said you cannot walk guys in this ballpark.
Well, I mean, you understand that you're going to give up the occasional home run. Balls hitting the gap tend to go for extra bases here like everywhere else, but you just can't walk guys ahead of the extra base hits. That's when you really get into trouble.
Some fireworks from Nick Ahmed last night. Nick homered and doubled twice, drove in 3 runs. In there in the 2-hole today against the left-handers, Torey Lovullo often does. On the ground is shortstop. Story, LeMahieu, and they're able to turn the double play. That's what Kyle Freeland can do. He is a very good ground ball pitcher. He's a pitch to contact type guy. Here's Goldie, and what a series it's been. He has homered twice in both games of this series, and he's been red hot on this road trip.
Yeah, measured that one in San Francisco right off the top of the left field wall, just banging extra base hits all over the place on this road trip. I mean, it's tough to remember an at-bat on this road trip where Goldie didn't barrel the ball on.
It's as if somebody just flipped a switch. Well, he has, as of last night, set a D-backs record. 4 consecutive games with at least 3 hits. Nobody in franchise history had ever done that. Rockies have 3 infielders on the third base side against him. It's 1-1. Goldie was hitting 198 after May 22nd, so he's raised his batting average 52 points in 14 games. That's how hot he's been.
Yeah, with over 200 at-bats on the season, that's really hard to do.
After a high fastball, and it's 1-2.
This is the kind of day here at Coors Field. I think you'll see a lot of hitters swing at pitches up in the zone. Just get it in the air today. It's got a good chance to get out of here.
Boy, the ball is carrying here like crazy with these temperatures heating up. It's not Phoenix hot, certainly, but it's pretty close at this elevation. You feel how strong the sun is, just like you do back home. And every time we come here in the summer, you always hear the same thing. Oh, you guys brought the heat with you. Well, it is summer, but thanks.
Yeah, the one big change this trip into Colorado is it hasn't rained a drop.
Oh,
well, yeah, it's not going to rain.
We got a fast game going here, too.
I mean, usually we leave the hotel in sunshine, and by the time you walk 3 or 4 blocks to get to the ballpark, it's pouring down rain, or vice versa. It's raining when you leave, and it's sunny when you get here.
You get the batting practice tornado, and then it's fine again by the time for first pitch. But it is gorgeous here today, has been all weekend. John Ryan Murphy batting cleanup. He's on deck. 2-2 to Goldie. Goldie has homered twice in both games of this series. Had a pair of home runs in Friday's opener, 2 more last night. First time in his career that he's had back-to-back multi-home run games. Last one foul down the left field line. You think it would be hard to time things with the way Friedland pauses in mid-delivery?
Quite possibly, but Goldie's pretty good about picking up a key in a pitcher's delivery and making sure that his hands are where they're supposed to be and the front foot's down. And some guys with a lot of moving parts like Friedland can occasionally upset that timing, but I think the way Goldie's swinging it right now, nothing bothers him at the plate.
8th pitch of the at-bat right here. Missed away, and it's full 3-2. What a battle going here.
You mentioned 2 straight multi-homer games for Goldie. Some surprising names that have done it 3 times in a row. Lee May from the Cincinnati Reds, he was a slugger. Frank Thomas, certainly. Jeff DeVannen.
Jeff DeVannen was not the big hurt.
No, but he had his moment there.
It's hard to believe that's actually the major league record.
Yeah,
just 3.
3.
Goldie's at it again, driving these Rockies crazy. Still a full count, 3-2. Hopped it up. Iannetta fighting that sun near the screen, and it's out of play. Well, Goldie continuing to just destroy this ballpark. Career at Coors Field, he's a .323 hitter. 14 homers here. He's played 54 games at Coors. He's got 60 RBIs.
A lot of the better hitters in the game have similar numbers to Paul Goldschmidt. The good thing is in the National League West, and he gets to come here a whole bunch every year.
Wow. We have earlier, Brandon Belt had like a 21 pitch at bat for the Giants before he got hurt. This is pitch number 13 coming up next.
Well, this is exactly what the doctor ordered. After John Jay worked a patient at bat, took the walk, Nick Ahmed swung at the first pitch he saw for the double play. Now Goldie extending Friedland here in what appeared to be a pretty quick inning.
Wow. What an at bat by Paul Goldschmidt. That was impressive.
It really was. Some guys get into what we call swing mode with 2 strikes. They're going to swing at everything, whether it's a ball, a strike, off speed, fastball, doesn't matter. They're going to swing at everything after 2 strikes. Goldie only swings at stuff that he feels are close enough to the strike zone that he has to be defensive.
John Ryan Murphy in the cleanup spot, 258. He's got 8 homers. John Ryan singled and scored a big run as a pinch hitter last night during that 6th run, 8th inning for the D-backs when Brian Shaw absolutely melted down out there, and he was booed mercilessly off the mound by these Rockies fans. He has really struggled, as has their entire bullpen. That's a miss by Ed Hickox. It's 1-1, just a little bit off the plate. See the sun shining down on his helmet there. It is bright out here.
Yeah, the sun pretty much straight overhead as we get underway here today. The shadows are basically right underneath each of the individual players, but as it moves toward the west later in the afternoon, we'll have the guys on the right side really battling that sun.
See the downtown skyline right behind the ballpark here in lower downtown, Lodo as they call it. That's belted to center right at Blackman. Almost carried over his head. 2 walks, but Freeland gets away unscathed. Zach Godley coming up in Colorado. For the D-backs is Zach Godley. Zach 5-5 this year, a 5.12 ERA, coming off a rough night in San Francisco to begin this road trip. He's won only once in his last 7 starts.
Now that start in San Francisco went only 3 1/3 in that game, gave up 5 hits, a couple of walks, gave up 7 earned runs. Really looking to right the ship here is Zach Godley.
Valley Chevy Dealers has the Rockies starting lineup today.
DJ LeMahieu will lead it off at second base. Charlie Blackman out in center field. Nolan Arenado at third base. Trevor Story having quite the series himself at shortstop. Gerardo Parra will be out in left field. Ian Desmond at first base with Noel Cuevas in right. Chris Iannetta catching, and left-hander Kyle Freeland on the mound.
LeMahieu leads it off. DJ LeMahieu, 287, 6 homers on the year. He homered to dead center field off Matt Cook in the 4th inning last night. What does Zach Godley have to do today to get out of here alive?
Command the fastball. I mean, it's very simple for Zach. We know he has that knuckle curve that's a devastating wipeout pitch. Unfortunately, he's behind in the count so often he can't use that pitch as effectively as he should.
So the key may be throwing the fastballs for strikes and setting up the curveball.
Yeah, I mean, that would seem to be a good plan of attack. It worked for him in the games that he's pitched well this year, spotting the fastball, especially that cutter away to the righties, into the lefties, and then setting up that knuckle curveball when he's ahead in the count and the hitter's more likely to expand his zone.
2-2 on DJ LeMahieu.
And one thing to keep in the back of your mind, we'll see as the game progresses, but breaking balls don't usually break as well as you're used to seeing here at Coors Field. We'll see how effective that knuckle curve is here today.
Likes to go to it with 2 strikes. Went to the fastball, but just missed. That hard cutter at 91, and it's full 3-2. Tried to sneak it through the bottom of the front door there on LeMahieu. Charlie Blackmon on deck. High in the air right field, John Jay backing up, still backing up. He's at the track, and he's got it up against the wall. The ball has carried here all weekend. Let's take a look at the D-backs defense. That's brought to you by E.D. Marshall Jr.
Quite possibly the shortest outfield ever assembled in a Major League Baseball game. Chris Owings in left, Gerard Dyson in center, John Jay in right. Devin Marrero getting the nod at third base today. Nick Ahmed and Ketel Marte make up the double play combo up the middle, with Paul Goldschmidt at first, John Ryan Murphy doing the catching for right-hander Zach Godley.
They'll put 3 infielders on the first base side against Blackmon, who's hitting .287 with 13 home runs.
If that fly ball by LeMahieu to right field is any indication, ooh, buckle up. That ball wasn't even hit well and carried all the way to the wall in right.
Last night it was just ridiculous. Everything was carrying out. I mean, Goldie's second home run last night, the launch angle was 46 degrees. It was a mile up in the air and just kept going out.
However, the first one he hit, I've never seen a right-hander hit a ball that far to right field in this park.
In fact, StatCast had never seen it done anywhere. According to StatCast, it was the longest opposite field home run hit by a right-hand batter since they invented StatCast.
I believe it.
He hit it over the bullpen out there in right center.
Up into the second deck and out the tunnel.
2 balls and 1 strike coming inside here. That's that cutter that breaks in on the left-hand batter from the right-hand pitcher. A little too far that time. It's 3-1. Couldn't check on that curveball. So full counts to the first 2 Rockies hitters. Arenado on deck. Lifted in the air along the left field line. Owings is out there running in, and it drops between him and the infielder as Blackmon hustles into second. That ball hung up there for a long time, but somehow found some green grass.
Chris Owings' first start in left field, he just looked like he never saw that ball, was just kind of gliding over to his right, and then at the very last instant tried to sprint in. I thought he had it right there the way he was going after that ball. He looks down and realizes nobody's going to get there. That's CO's ball all the way.
Just kept carrying over the head of Devin Marrero, who was running out there from third. So it turns into a double for Blackmon. Now, if there's any carryover from Goldie getting plunked last night, would Arenado be the guy that the Diamondbacks might accidentally throw inside to?
Yeah, you would expect such. I mean, he's their best player, their best hitter in the middle of the lineup. But if you want to send a message, you retaliate to the same guy on the opposing team. Now, of course, we said about the walks. Well, and we know Nolan Arenado can get his dander up in a hurry. This happened against the Padres earlier this year.
Yeah, Luis Perdomo threw one behind him, and it got really ugly. But no reaction when Goldie took an obvious one in the ribs last night. What about the circumstances surrounding Goldie's plunking lead you to believe it was intentional?
Well, he hit 2 long home runs. He's worn out the Rockies pitching staff. They've tried everything to get him out. I guess they figured, let's just put him on. And it was just so obvious. You get a guy out there on the mound that, maybe he misses a spot by a few inches one way or the other, and all of a sudden he throws one right in the guy's rib cage.
First pitch of the at-bat, blowout game, 9th inning, bases empty.
It all adds up to an intentional beating, and Goldie had his say with Tony Walters behind the plate, and the home plate umpire Gabe Morales, and then just ran on down to first base, probably hoping he'd get an opportunity to dump somebody out there at second base.
So we'll keep an eye on that situation as the game progresses today. Godley behind in the count, 2-1 to the dangerous Nolan Arenado. This is skied way up in the air. Goldie first base side really fighting that sun. Boy, you need the sunglasses today more than ever.
Oh yeah.
It is bright out there.
And like we said, the early part of the game, it's pretty much straight overhead, but it's the guys on the right side of the field that are really going to have to battle that sun all afternoon.
Well, we talked about what became last night the home run duel as Goldie and Trevor Story each homered twice. Story now leads Colorado with 14 homers and 47 RBIs. He's got Blackman at second and 2 outs.
Oh, come on.
Wow.
Man.
All right. Trevor Story, you know, Bob, we were talking last night. That was a home run against Greinke Friday. But last night, he just kind of goes down and lifts it out, and it goes 430 feet.
Well, last night was one of those nights everybody in the world wants to be a hitter at Coors Field. They were jumping out here. A couple of off-balance swings, but he got the barrel on the ball. And if you do that, it's got a chance to leave.
Almost in the same spot. Got the call that time from Ed Hickox, and it's 1-1. That was the knuckle curveball. Story 5 hits in this series. He's doubled and homered 3 times. Homered twice off Matt Cook last night. Really working that cutter down, Zach Godley, so far. That one was fouled away, and it's 1-2. Kyle Freeland had a 24 pitch first. Godley about to throw number 20.
You know, talking about retaliation, I'm not sure John Ryan Murphy's the kind of catcher that would do something like this, but back in the day when retaliation was expected and accepted.
Right.
I used to tell the hitters as they came up to the plate, hey, be loose. I don't know what he's going to do out there. That's all you have to say. Now the batter's getting in the box going, wait a minute. Is he going to hit me or is he going to throw a strike? Well, and you might be able to steal a strike or two in an at-bat very quickly before a guy realizes that he's been set up.
Yeah, if that lingers into the next game like it has today, then you know the D-backs kind of have the hammer there. The Rockies have to just wait for it to arrive. Right center field. John Jay has it. Godley able to strand that 1-out double. We'll head to the second inning in Colorado. No score, the D-backs and the Rockies.
It's time for our top of the order. Talking Paul Goldschmidt and his amazing run right now, 14 for 21 on this road trip. Talked to Dave Magadan about some of the things going on. Great to see his confidence back, of course. And one thing Mags talked about was some mechanical tweaks that he started working on in late April. He said what we saw in May was just his focus was split between working on those mechanics and then just trying to do what he does so well, a strength of Paul Goldschmidt's, which is being able to lay off bad pitches and things like that. Obviously, that's what Goldie does, and now that focus isn't split anymore. You know, he can just focus on the ball that's thrown to him right now, and you're seeing him lay off of those pitches and really barrel up the ball. Now, quick on Zach Godley, talking to John Ryan Murphy, said the big inning, which Godley's talked about a lot, being the problem, have to avoid it. If it gets to that point, it's too late. He said, we're looking for actually some contact here. Soft contact, and it's dangerous when you talk about Coors Field. Throwing strikes, which we saw Godley throw 21 pitches in that inning, but looking for contact, but the good kind, not the kind that's up in the air and going out of the yard.
Yeah, that's been the big issue for Zach lately, Jody. As you mentioned the walks, and said that before, you just can't walk guys in this ballpark. That's when the 2-run inning becomes a 6-run inning. Ketel Marte hits a fly ball deep left field, and there it goes. Another extra base hit for Ketel Marte, and he has tied a Diamondbacks record, 10 in a row.
Remarkable.
5 doubles, 2 triples, and 3 home runs. That's his last 10 base hits.
Boy, and we were talking about the home runs that Trevor Story hit in the game last night that didn't look like home run swings. Well, that looks like a home run swing right there. Ketel Marte catches that ball just out in front of home plate with full extension. Gets some backspin on that ball. Gerardo Parra just gave it a couple steps and then watched it sail into the bleachers.
Chris Owings now. You know, Bob, in watching Marte the last couple of weeks, it seems like his hands just kind of flick or snap, and the ball jumps off the bat.
And his timing and his rhythm is absolutely perfect. Those wrists really getting involved right at the point of contact.
425 feet. Ketel Marte ties Chris Iannetta right now, along with Goldie, Gonzo, and Steve Finley. A D-backs record, 10 consecutive hits for extra bases. CO bidding for extra bases right here, and that one's off the bullpen wall. Owings is in at second. A home run and a double open up the D-backs second.
Boy, this is one of those days at Coors Field. We talk a lot about pitching to soft contact. This is the kind of day you want to pitch to no contact. I mean, even mishit balls are carrying off the wall out there in right, left field. Ball is just absolutely flying here today.
So a run is in, Owings at second, nobody out, and here's Jarrod Dyson. Dyson 203, 2 homers. Arenado coming in from third. That's ball 1. Dyson singled, walked, and scored a run in last night's win. Tony Perez-Chica flashing the signs at third. Slider up, 1-1. Kyle Freeland, as we mentioned, is not a strikeout guy. He relies on command and location, trying to fill up the zone with strikes, he says. He's thrown only 2 of 7 first pitch strikes so far here. Pulls the bat back in time. No, he didn't, says Gabe Morales. They check to third. Freeland comes at you, I'm sorry, Bob, with the 3 different fastballs. He's got the 4-seam, the sinker, and the cutter.
His best off-speed pitch is a changeup. I was just going to say, when you're up there attempting to bunt, either for a sacrifice or a base hit, the toughest pitch is that borderline strike. The one right on the edge. You get the bat out there, you're not quite sure if it's a strike or not, and that time Dyson pulled back a little bit too late.
Got another high slider, laid off that one, and it's 3-1. Devin Marrero on deck. keeps leaving that pitch in the same spot up there.
Just a hunch, but if you throw too many of those sliders up there at the top of the strike zone, it's going to be a very short afternoon for the Rockies left-hander. I mean, you may get away with it to Gerard Dyson. You may get away with it to some of the guys at the bottom of the order, but you start hanging that slider up in the zone to the guys at the top of this order, you're going to be in the shower quickly.
Full count, 3-2. Swing and a miss. First strikeout for Freeland.
7 consecutive sliders there to Gerard Dyson. That one started on the inner third of the plate, looked like a strike, and swept clear across the zone and off the plate away for strike 3.
Started third base today for Devin Marrero. Jake Lamb getting the day off against the lefty. More so a chance for Jake to get the day off at Coors Field than against the left-hand pitcher. That's always a high priority for Torey Lovullo when we come here. So that was kind of a no-brainer for Torey. Day game after a night game, Coors Field, the lefty. Might as well give Jake his day today. So Marrero's in there at third. Bounced over the mound. LeMahieu has it at second. Owings into third, 2 outs.
You know, partner, we were talking earlier about Kyle Freeland and his altered mechanics, and an unexpected byproduct was he says he recovers a lot quicker after starts.
That's big here.
Yeah, it's huge when you're pitching half of your games in this ballpark, the ability to bounce back after a long outing and get ready for that next start 5 days later. He said his new mechanics make him feel a little more refreshed after he starts.
Well, it's a nice place to be for him. He's a Denver native. He went to high school right here in Denver, Colorado, Thomas Jefferson High. Pitching for the hometown team. Wound up pitching as a collegiate ball at the University of Evansville for the Aces there. And the Rockies took him with a first-round pick in the 2014 draft. He was the 8th overall selection in that draft.
I remember actually seeing that draft, and when Kyle Freeland was selected, he was at home with friends and family, and you want to talk about a bunch of people going crazy. Getting drafted by your hometown team in the first round.
That's a big deal. Yeah, the Rockies took Freeland ahead of guys like Michael Conforto and Trey Turner. So he was very well regarded coming out of college. Leadoff man John Jay hoping to get a chance. Freeland's fallen behind on the pitcher Godley, 3-1. So it's turned into a 20-pitch second inning for Freeland after a 24-pitch first. Full count on Godley, 3-2. Oh man, Ed Hickox. He rings him up. So they strand Owings at third, but Ketel Marte gets us started with, guess what, a home run. He ties a D-backs record, 10 consecutive extra base hits. They lead it 1-0. the D-backs the early lead here in Colorado. Hey, Tiger Woods is back, and he is set to take on the greatest golfers in the world, the 118th U.S. Open. Live coverage begins June 14th from Shinnecock Hills on Fox FS1 and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Big month for Fox Sports. You got the U.S. Open. FIFA World Cup, as you know, is only days away.
Just days away.
You still have your newspaper? Are you studying some of the lineups?
What do you want to know?
That thing's going to be weathered by the time the tournament's over.
I can only give you highlights. I can't get too in depth.
Give us a good one. What do you got?
I mean, a Cinderella story. Everybody loves a Cinderella story in any sport. How about Iceland?
Yes.
Yeah.
Excellent call.
I like Iceland a lot.
Who doesn't? Gerardo Parra leads off the second. you know, you said it with a straight face. That's what broke me up.
I'll tell you, Ed Hickok's having a rough day behind the plate, and we're only an inning and a half into this ball game.
I mean, the pitch that he rung up Godley on almost hit Godley in the leg, for crying out loud. That's not good.
Those sunglasses are a blindfold.
It's only the second inning.
Well, I'll tell you what, it can only get better.
That's true. 1-1 on Parra.
Yeah, I'd get an early shower on getaway day if I was still managing today.
You may get one anyway. You get a call. Parra knocks it into right, a leadoff single. Second hit against Zach Godley. That brings up Ian Desmond. Well, Godley is a pitch to contact guy, and Desmond hits a whole lot of balls on the ground. He is hitless in the series, 190 on the year. He has homered 11 times. There's a strike. Good hard cutter from Godley. It's amazing how they spent all that money on Ian Desmond, $70 million, and he just cannot hit in this ballpark.
Boy, that is hard to fathom.
I mean, look at that difference right there. He's got 11 homers, only 3 here at Coors. Hitting under $160 at home this year. Caught the corner that time with a cutter. A whole lot of cut fastballs from Zach Godley. And it looks like, Bob, so far he's locating him pretty well.
Yeah, that first inning he sprayed him around a little bit, but at least he's missing closer to his target today. His last couple starts, he missed from one side of the plate to the other, from low to high.
Setting up down and away. Got the curveball, and Desmond strikes out for a strikeout for Godley.
Everything down, down, down. Finished him off with that knuckle curve.
Got to keep that pitch down here, that's for sure. Noel Cuevas, the right fielder. He's in there for the second day in a row, 297 and a homer. Cargo was not in the lineup last night, nor is he in there today. He's got some back spasms, so we're seeing Cuevas in right field. Caught a little bit of a break there because boy, Cargo is hitting everything coming into this series.
Although Cargo hadn't had much luck against Zach Godley, 0 for 7 lifetime, so that combined with the injury did give him another day off. Hope that he's good to go tomorrow.
Take an effective left-hand bat out of the lineup against Godley for Colorado. Another cut fastball. Difficult outing for Zach Monday when we opened the road trip at AT&T Park against the Giants. He lasted only 3 1/3. Gave up 7 runs, all earned. Second time in 3 starts that Zach lasted less than 4 innings.
Yeah, 3 1/3 through 86 pitches to get through 3 1/3.
It was a labor. That's chopped foul, and it's 1-2. lot of that is the command. Zach in his first 2 starts this year walked a total of 1 batter. But since then, he's averaging almost 6 walks for every 9 innings pitched. And the control of his stuff, which moves around so much, has just been an ongoing issue here. Marrero has it at third, Marte at second, and Cuevas is safe at first.
Just not quite hit hard enough to turn 2 that time. Marrero unloaded quickly to Ketel Marte, but just wasn't really hit hard enough to make this into 2 outs. Get to Sherwin at second base. Marte with a lot on that throw to first, but just a tack late.
Cuevas over there, 2 down for Chris Iannetta. 230 and 5 homers. Chris singled as a pinch hitter in last night's game. Hit a ball high off the wall in right field, off the scoreboard out there, that was just about the longest single you'll ever see. Starts him off with a curveball on 1. Tried to sneak that 2-seamer back in toward that corner, down and away, but missed at 21. Cuevas at first does not have a stolen base this year, but he runs pretty well. Nice block by John Ryan. That knuckle curve in the dirt, keeping it down. Rockies trying to get going. They are reeling. They've lost 3 straight games and 7 of their last 9. They're at 500 right now for the first time since April 30th, 32 and 32. Bud Black's team somehow 7 games below 500 at home. They are 11 and 18 at Coors Field. Two balls and 1 strike to Chris Iannetta. That's off the plate. 3 balls and a strike. The pitcher Freeland on deck. Cutter caught just enough of the strike zone there, and it's full 3-2. Chris Iannetta, as we know, is a very patient hitter. Chris, with the D-backs last year, just had 1 long at bat after another. He can really work counts. That's belted to Marrero, who makes a tremendous pick at third. What a play there by Devin Marrero. A rocket off the shoe tops will hit the third. It's 1-0 D-backs. Wow, what a play.
as they look for the sweep. And leading off this inning is John Jay, batting, of course, from the left side. And, you know, Bob, I know you were noticing, Steve as well, I mean, a lot of body armor on John Jay, right? He told me he's got 3 pads on the arm. He's got the pad on the leg. He said, look, I'm not taking any chances. In 2016, he was hit by a pitch. It was Gio Gonzalez. He suffered a broken right forearm. He missed 2 months. And he said, you know what, better safe than sorry. He's got those pads on there. He said they're lightweight. The company that makes them does a great job, and he doesn't really feel them, and he'd much rather have those pads on there. And he said traditionally he does get hit a lot, so we've seen that. We saw it yesterday.
God, got hit twice. He looks like a Megatron or something up there with a transformer.
I think that might be the future of offense in baseball going forward. We see guys wearing the wraparound jaw guard on the helmets, the ankle guards, the foot guards. It used to be just an elbow guard, but you can see he's got a couple of different sleeves that he pulls on that right arm. One goes all the way up and protects his triceps and his elbow. The other one protects his forearm and his wrist.
Down 0-2 as we start the third. Jay made several very nice defensive plays in right field last night, but still looking for his first base hit as a D-back. Swing and a miss on the fastball. That's the 3rd strikeout for Kyle Freeland. He's punched out 3 the last 4. Nick Ahmed hit into a double play his first time. Nick homered, doubled twice here last night, knocked in 3 runs. He's got a 6-game hitting streak going.
Maybe a little overly aggressive in that first at bat, back in the first inning, swung at the first pitch he saw from Kyle Freeland, hit into that double play.
Despite that, because of Goldie's long at bat, Freeland still worked a 24 pitch first inning. And he's already up to 50 here with 1 out in the 3rd. 50 pitches, 29 strikes. That one's fouled away. Nick's home run came in the 2nd inning last night against Chad Bennis, his 9th of the year. That ties a career high. He's already tied his career high for home runs. That didn't miss by a whole lot. Tried to change up that time. 2-1. A lot of Freeland stuff so far today has been up. That fastball sailed on him. We saw all those sliders that were up in the zone earlier. Goldie on deck.
Might be able to get away with fastballs up there above the top of the zone, but you hang too many of those sliders up there, as I mentioned. These right-handed hitters are going to make him pay.
Just inside. That's his 3rd walk. And here comes Goldie. Goldie walked after a long extended at bat against Freeland in the first. Fouled off a whole bunch of pitches. Iannetta does not like what he's seeing. Again, a fastball misses up above the strike zone at 1-0. Goldie's 6 hits in this series, 7 RBIs. He scored 6 times.
Other than that, he hasn't done much.
Nothing. Just waiting for something. Just inside that time with a fastball. 2-0.
Boy, such a difference even in the way Goldie takes pitches. Earlier this season, especially in May when he was really struggling, his hands were always moving into the slot. Even before he saw the pitch, he was already starting the bat, which caused him to check his swing a lot, take a lot of very feeble hacks at the ball. But now he's recognizing the pitch before he does anything with those hands.
That's a great point. You can see him react differently to the baseball than he was before. That part that processes what the pitch is, that sees it, he looks like a whole different guy up there. Shallow center, Blackman coming in. Ahmed back to the bag, 2 down. John Ryan Murphy. Murphy lined out hard to center his first time up. That fastball got away from Freeland that time. John Ryan, a good guy to have in the lineup and in the cleanup spot today. Look at these numbers against lefties. 310, including 5 of his 8 home runs have come against left-hand batters. Or pitchers, I should say. Breaking ball snuck through the back door. 1-1. 60 pitches for Freeland, only 33 strikes. He's walked 3 guys. Chased a high fastball that time, and it's 1-2. We've seen a couple of change-ups, maybe 1 curveball, but a whole lot of sliders from Freeland so far. Ahmed at first, 2 outs, 2-2 on Murphy with Marte on deck.
.62 pitches for Kyle Freeland here in the top half of the 3rd inning. Obviously, you want to run that count up as high as you possibly can and get into that Rockies bullpen.
Oh boy, that is getting ugly. And they're getting angry about it here. There's that slider, buried it down, gets the strikeout, his 4th. D-backs lead the Rockies 1-0. A home run has given the Diamondbacks a 1-0 lead. 2018 FIFA World Cup coming to Fox at FS1. Every match is live. Over 300 hours of coverage. It's the world's biggest sporting event. It's only 4 days away. Right here on Fox and FS1. And for more, here's our World Cup correspondent, Bob Brindley.
What do you want to know?
You had material ready to go. I thought you were. That was a nice little segue.
Well,
Set you up. Spike it.
Well, okay. One team to keep an eye on, a specific player on Egypt's team, that Mohamed Salah. Ooh.
Yeah, he's really good.
He might be the second best player in the world.
All right, so you've given us Iceland as an underdog and Salah for Egypt.
Yeah, you got to watch him.
This is good
Absolutely.
stuff.
Although Salah injured his shoulder in the Champions League final, so it remains to be seen if he's going to be at 100%.
That was a big deal. Swing and a miss. Godley gets his second strikeout. Good start to the third.
Hey, fans, the day after every D-backs win, get 50% off all pizzas at regular menu price using promo code DBACKS50 at papajohns.com.
DJ LeMahieu flying out to lead off the game for Colorado. Good first pitch curveball by Zach Godley. That's what we're talking about when we say he's got to do that more often with that curveball. Establish that you will throw it in the strike zone. Doubled up with it that time. That's a foul ball. So now we're starting the second time through the order for Zach Godley. We saw a whole bunch of cut fastballs. But he started off LeMahieu here with two curveballs.
You know, partner, earlier I said this could quite possibly be the shortest outfield ever fielded in a major league game. I stand corrected already. The starting outfield for the Boston Red Sox: Andrew Benintendi 5'9", Jackie Bradley Jr. 5'10", and Mookie Betts 5'9". Wow, our guys tower over them.
Benintendi's that short?
Yeah, that's what it says in the media guide. A total of 17 feet 4 inches for the Red Sox, 17 feet 7 inches for the Diamondbacks.
Maybe we can get somebody to crouch down or something. One ball and two strikes on DJ LeMahieu. Charlie Blackmon, the on-deck man. Good pitch by Godley. Went to that cutter down and away, tailing away from the right-hand batter. And LeMahieu was swinging a miss.
Boy, and it seems like when he keeps that cutter down, that's when it has its best movement. He really gets on top of that pitch. Not only has that lateral movement away from a righty, but a little bit of downward movement as well.
And Zach is getting ahead in counts. 5 consecutive first pitch strikes. And now he faces Blackmon, who doubled in the first. Cutter misses in that time. Blackmon homered here against Zach Greinke Friday night. His 13th of the year. Well, that beard has got to be hot. Day like this.
I was just thinking the same thing. Oh, man.
It's a really strong sun here. We know all about that at home at this elevation. We'll put that four-seamer in a good spot on 2-0. Did miss by a whole lot that time. Behind on Blackmon, 3-1. Nolan Arenado, the on-deck hitter. Lost the handle on that changeup big time. And that's the first base on balls issued by Godley. Here comes Arenado. Arenado popped up to first his first time up. Arenado has only one hit in the series. He singled in his very first at bat Friday night. Blackman down there does not run nearly as much as he used to. 50 pitches for Godley, 29 strikes. He has walked 1 and struck out 3.
6 stolen base attempts on the season for Charlie Blackman. He's been successful 4 times.
Popped him up again. Murphy fighting the sun.
Nice.
That's a huge out right there. Arenado 0 for 2 today. It's 1-0 D-backs through 3.
Ketel Marte second inning home run. He fouls off a first pitch fastball, takes a fastball off the plate inside, and then gets a changeup that caught too much strike zone. Rides it out of here to left field. Our nationwide vision eye on the game.
That was the record tire for Ketel Marte. 10 consecutive hits for extra bases. And leads off the 4th against Kyle Freeland. This is sky to right. Cuevas fighting the sun on the warning track, and he's got it. Ten consecutive hits for extra bases. Chris Iannetta, Goldie Gonzo, Steve Finley now share that record with Ketel Marte. Here's Chris Owings, who doubled his first time up, the left fielder today. No Lamb, no Peralta in a lineup for Torey Lovullo. We'd really like to get CO's bat going. Drove in a run with a sac fly in Friday's opener. Got a double today.
I mean, given his role with the ball club this year, his anticipated role was as the super utility guy, but you've got to swing the bat enough to make the manager want to put you in there at different positions on a daily basis.
5 strikeouts for Freeland, 2 down in the 4th. Gerard Dyson, a strikeout victim his first time up. Tries to bunt his way on. Kyle Freeland threw first pitch strikes to only 3 of the first 13 batters he faced. So he's had some traffic around him, but he's getting ahead in counts here in the 4th. Bud Black trying to figure out what's happening with his ball club. Can't win at home. They can't close out leads home or away. Rockies had to put another reliever on the DL today, Scott Oberg. He's got a back strain. Mike Dunn had a rhomboid strain. He went on the DL the other day. Adam Ottavino's been out with a left oblique strain. Put a big strain on their bullpen. Little tapper back to the mound. Freeland works a 1-2-3 4th. He's retired 5 in a row. 7 pitches for Freeland. It's 1-0 D-backs.
Baseball history brought to you by Geico. We go back to June 10th, 2006. Former D-back Reggie Sanders hit his 300th career home run, becoming only the 5th player in Major League history with 300 homers and 300 stolen bases, joining Barry and Bobby Bonds, Andre Dawson, and Willie Mays.
We get to see Reggie almost every year for our alumni game.
I'll tell you, Reggie was a big part of that 01 World Championship team. 33 homers, drove in 90, stole 14 bases, had an OPS of nearly 900 that year.
Trevor Story leads off the Rockies' 4th and knocks that one the other way into right field. There's Gerardo Parra. Story now with 6 hits in the series. Parra singled his first time up. He's got that familiar hip swivel when he swings, and nobody else swings their hips the way he does. It's just kind of like a hula hoop motion.
He's a dancer. Yeah, starts with that wide open stance and then closes up as Zach Godley gets ready to deliver that ball to home plate.
Keep your eye on Parra's hips.
That's what they said about Elvis.
See, you got that little wiggle there, yeah, even when he takes it.
Just a little cocking of the front side of that right hip there. Making sure he keeps that front side closed until he's ready to swing the bat.
What does that mean, front side closed?
Well, a lot of guys, your left shoulder open, or in his case, the right shoulder opens up, the right hip opens up. You can't reach pitches from the middle of the plate away. The only thing you're going to hit is pitches from the middle in. you keep that front side closed, you're a little better prepared to drive the ball to the opposite field if it's away from you.
Devin Marrero is on the grass at third. 1-1 to Parra. Couldn't get to that one away from him. It's 1-2. Godley has had success sort of keeping that curveball in his back pocket. Haven't seen it too much, mostly cutters. 1-2 at that time with 2 strikes. I imagine the less you use that pitch, in a sense, the more effective it might become.
Yeah, the less frequency that you show it to the opposing team, it kind of gets put on the back burner as far as what they might be looking for in a certain situation.
There was a point where it was almost curveball, 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 and nothing else. That's hit hard right at Ahmed. Can they double off Story? No, he gets back in time. Parra blistered that one to shortstop. 1 out.
Right at Nick Ahmed, who tries to double off Story over there at first base. The ball was hit so hard he didn't have a chance to get too far off the bag at first. You could see Parra's frustration.
That's a big hang with him. Desmond struck out in the second. Long set by Godley. Starts him off with a curveball. Oh, and that pitch for strikes.
And it is not breaking as much as we're used to seeing from Zach Godley.
It looks different, doesn't it?
It looks a lot different. It looks almost like a hard slider now with just a little subtle downward movement as opposed to the big rolling knuckle curve that we see occasionally.
It's funny, subtle is rarely a term used with Zach Godley. There's nothing subtle about the bull.
You know, Torrey likes to talk a lot about the shape of pitches. Certain pitches have a certain shape. One looks like a J, one looks kind of like an S, whatever. A big C, an upside down C. Well, Zach Godley's curveball does not have the same shape here at Coors Field that we're used to seeing at other ballparks. But it's still very effective.
Story takes off, swing and a miss. Murphy's throw is in time, and they get him. Well, Trevor Story was thrown out attempting to steal in the 5th inning last night. A call that got overturned on a D-backs challenge. This one was not close.
Not close at all. Looked like a broken hit and run just based on the swing you saw from Ian Desmond right there. He didn't get a great jump at first base, and Desmond took a half-hearted swing at that pitch in the dirt. John Ryan Murphy guns him out at second.
So base is empty, 2 down, and Godley's ahead of ball in 2 strikes. Got him. Went back to the curveball. 4 strikeouts for Godley, a 10-pitch inning. He leads at 1-0. Coors Field in downtown Denver. D-backs lead the Rockies 1-0. Valley Toyota Dealers presents Let's Go Places. We finally get to go home for more than 10 minutes. 3 against the Pirates starting tomorrow, and then 4 against the New York Mets.
There's no place like home.
After that, we have another long 3-city road trip, so make sure you do your laundry. Devin Marrero leads off the 5th against Kyle Freeland, who's retired the last 5 D-backs he's faced. Marrero grounded out in the 2nd, his first time up. Arenado doing what he does. He is unbelievable. The first third baseman in Major League history should just win the Gold Glove every year, 5 straight.
And on this particular play, a little style point there. Didn't bother to get up off his knee. Had plenty of time. That ball was hit like a rocket down there. He just decides, make one for the highlight reel. Challenge himself. The plays aren't hard enough. He has to challenge himself.
He's bored. Zach Godley looks at a strike. Not only the first third baseman ever to do that, the first infielder in history to begin your career with 5 straight Gold Gloves. Nolan Arenado. You know, they got to think about down the road. There's a lot of talk they won't re-sign DJ LeMahieu here because they're going to have to try and keep Arenado, who's got free agency coming up after next season. LeMahieu can walk now. They're thinking, well, if we commit to him, that's less money we have for Arenado. They got some youngsters they like down there in their system, some infielders. So we'll see what happens down the road with Colorado as Godley strikes out.
Hey fans, anytime the D-backs score 5 runs or more, Taco Bell is giving away 3 free tacos with the purchase of a large drink between 4 and 6 the following day at participating locations. Yeah, and DJ LeMahieu has gone on record as saying he would like to stay here in Colorado, but you know, he and his agent are no dummies. They're going to go where the money is.
Yeah, he signed a 1-year, $8.5 million deal to avoid arbitration this winter. He can hit the free agent market after this year. John Jay has walked and struck out. Freeland really settling in now. He's got 6 strikeouts. He's retired 7 straight. And he's thrown first pitch strikes to the last 13 batters. Ahead of Jay quickly 0-2.
And we're seeing Freeland occasionally alter how long he will hang there over the rubber. Almost came to a complete stop that time.
I think John Jay's eye black is leaking.
Got the Alice Cooper look.
Braveheart. Or he's just very emotional. 2 balls and 2 strikes. D-backs have only 2 hits, both coming in the 2nd inning. Marte led off the inning with a home run. It's 4th of the year. The game's only run so far. Owings followed with a double, and that's been all the offense. 80 pitches, 49 strikes. 3-2 to Jay. He struck him out. That's 7 strikeouts for Kyle Freeland, who's retired 8 straight. 1-0. Fans, Father's Day is 1 week from today. You can bring Dad to the ballpark to see the D-backs and the Mets, a 1 o'clock start. First 15,000 dads take home this Hawaiian shirt courtesy of Tyson Foods. Visit dbacks.com/dad. We'll see you at the ballpark a week from today for Father's Day. It's your D-backs Father's Day Hawaiian shirt. Noel Cuevas, the right fielder, leads off the Colorado fifth. Zach Godley so far, 4 scoreless innings. He's given up 3 hits. He's walked 1. He's got 4 strikeouts. Just got a piece of that curveball. Along the right field line, there's nobody over there. A long run for Goldie, and he can't quite get to it. This is a big ballpark.
Boy, it sure is. A lot of room to roam in foul territory. And also that sun we mentioned, Goldie running out there looking back over his shoulder, trying to make the over-the-shoulder catch. He was probably looking right up into that afternoon sun.
And with the exception of the extreme corners in either outfield spots, left and right, there's a pretty fair amount of foul ground as well. Same spot. John Jay, will he have any better luck? He's got a long run and he can't make the sliding ground.
That time Goldie just turned around and yelled at John Jay, "You've got plenty of room."
Yours, dude.
I chased the last one, you chased this one.
Mentioned earlier in the game, John made a couple of really nice sliding catches out there in right field last night. Another good catch up against the wall in deep right field. He was busy out there. Most of the defenders were. D-backs beat Colorado 12-7. Diamondbacks had 13 hits. Rockies had 9. But a different story so far here today. Went to the curveball and gets his 5th strikeout.
As a matter of fact, the Rockies have allowed double-digit hits in 11 consecutive games. That's a franchise record for the Rockies.
That is the longest streak, in fact, for any major league team since the 2008 Seattle Mariners. It's been that long. Rockies have lost 3 in a row, 7 of 9. Here's Chris Iannetta. The problem is that so many of those hits and runs are coming against their bullpen, which is just a disaster right now. Even when they score runs and have leads, they can't close games out like last night. He didn't go, says Jerry Meals at first. 2-0 on Iannetta.
Boy, and anybody that's followed a team for any amount of time will tell you that a lack of a shutdown bullpen will hurt a team more than anything else. You go out and score some runs, you get a good starting pitching performance, you play good defense, and then the bullpen comes strolling in there, and before you know it, your lead is gone, the win is gone, and everybody's frustrated.
And nobody more so than Brian Shaw, who had that nightmare inning in the 8th last night when he threw 36 pitches. Gave up 4 hits, 6 runs. Only 1 was earned because of his double error on the 1 play. And boy, they let him have it here when he walked off the mound. The Rockies fans are really upset about that. But you know, Brian Shaw is a very super dependable guy in Cleveland for years and years. D-backs fans know all about him. Hasn't worked out so far. The pitcher Freeland on deck, 2-2 on Iannetta. Zach Godley's in a groove right now. That's 3 consecutive strikeouts and 6 for the ball game.
Hey fans, the 2018 Camping World MLB All-Star Ballot is now open and exclusively online. Make sure your favorite D-backs are represented on this year's squad by voting at dbacks.com/vote. Catch all the excitement of the 89th MLB All-Star Game presented by MasterCard July 17th live on Fox.
Godley can strike out the side. Kyle Freeland, the pitcher, punched out his first time. Good hard cutter down. You really like this mix and this sequencing from Godley. That was the curveball right there. He's throwing it just enough. He's mixing things up much more, I think, than we've seen him before. And it's really working out. And Zach Godley strikes out the side in the 5th. He's got 7 punch-outs and a 1-0 lead.
Photo or video with hashtag Hats Off for Heroes. For each post, T-Mobile will donate $1 to support veterans.
D-backs baseball on Fox Sports Arizona is brought to you by Tire Pros of Arizona. Everything rotates around you. D-backs looking for what would be an enormous 3-game sweep of the Rockies. They lead Colorado 1-0. As we start the 6th inning here at Coors Field, Steve Berthew, Bob Brenly, Jody Jackson with you. Nick Ahmed, Paul Goldschmidt, and John Murphy due up. 2, 3, and 4 for the D-backs here in the 6th. Ketel Marte, a solo homer in the 2nd, the game's only run so far. Freeland has really settled in nicely. He's got 7 strikeouts in the game. He's retired the last 8 batters he faced. Ahmed has hit into a double play and walked. He's 0 for 1. In fact, Freeland over the last 2 innings has thrown only 18 pitches. He had to work awfully hard through the first 3. But since then, he's been in cruise control. Gets ahead of Ahmed 0-1.
Nick fouled that ball off his front foot, it appeared, just trying to walk it off here, get some feeling back in his toes before he continues his at bat.
Yeah, already had a foot guard on there as it was.
Yeah, he's a little like Goldie. The ankle guard goes underneath the pants. It's covered up. You can just see that little extension that covers the top part of his left foot sticking out from the bell-bottom pants. Almost got him again.
Well, they're trying to crowd him inside with fastballs, and that time a slider. 9 homers. He's already matched his career high. And you can see batting second. This is a big reason why. About 290 versus left-handers this year. 4 homers. Lays off the high fastball.
You know, talking about all the body armor, we see Nick with an elbow guard and the ankle guard on the left foot. We saw John Jay with protection just about everywhere. Back in the day, you used to have to apply to Major League Baseball for a waiver to wear that kind of stuff. You had to have an existing injury that you were protecting or coming off of a surgery that you were protecting to get approval from MLB to wear an elbow guard.
Well, why?
That was just the rule back then.
They figured maybe guys would just lean into pitches and crowd the plate because they weren't afraid of getting hurt or something.
And, you know, and then Barry Bonds came back from an elbow injury and,
he had a third elbow.
Oh, man, it was a huge apparatus that he wore on his right arm to protect that elbow.
Arenado at third. Here comes Goldie.
And I think it's, in a way, it's a little bit of a shame, not so much at the major league level, but I read stories every year about a little league, some small town somewhere that is encouraging all their players to wear rib guards and extra padded helmets and elbow guards and ankle guards. Instead of teaching them how to get out of the way of an inside pitch, we're padding them up so that they have no fear of getting hit by an inside pitch.
And the correct way is
turn away and pull your head down into your shoulders. Do the turtle. That's what they used to call it when I was a young player in American Legion ball. My coach said, yeah, make believe you're a turtle. Pull your head down into your shoulders as you're turning away from the pitch. You may still get hit, but it's probably not going to do as much damage as we've seen so many guys turn into the ball.
And that's where you get hit on the hand and the wrist, and you get all kinds of serious injuries. Goldie blasts one toward Parra in left field. It's off the wall. He can't corral it. It caroms back toward the infield. And Goldie's got his 15th double.
Just a lousy double. That ball was hit so hard, Parra didn't have a chance to get back to the wall. Just a rocket line drive off the bat of Paul Goldschmidt. Goes down and gets what appeared to be an off-speed pitch down and out over the plate. And just smashes it over the head of Gerardo Parra off the wall. He can't even play the carom. That's how hard it hit the wall.
108 miles an hour off the bat. His 7th hit in the series. He's at second with 1 out for John Ryan Murphy. He's 0 for 2. Four-seamer down and in for a strike, 0-1. Long set of signs from Chris Iannetta. Freeland wants to see him one more time. Got Goldie down there at second, peeking in. There's a lot going on there for Chris. Now, why, people might want to know, why is Iannetta back there touching the chest protector in different spots and then dropping the hands down and giving the signals for the pitches?
Usually the touches are some kind of an indicator. For example, if I touch my mask first, we're going to use the first sign. If I touch my chest protector first, we're going to use the second sign. If I touch my shin guard first, we're going to use the last sign in the sequence. It just depends on what each one of those touches means.
That's a lot of stuff.
And it could all be decoys. You know, we see guys touching all over their chest protector and their shin guards and their mask and their opposite arm, and then they go down and give signs, and it's the same thing every time. And all the touches are just bluffs.
And you can see CI's got a chart there on his wrist, color-coded chart, different pitches to different hitters and different counts. We'll go through this whole thing again. Two balls and a strike to John Ryan Murphy.
And in order to try to decipher those, if you're the opposing team, there's probably a player or two or more watching this game on the clubhouse television. And I know back in the day, I used to sit there with a piece of paper and a pencil, and I'd write down whatever the catcher hangs down there. Like, for example, here. Wiggle, 2, 1, 3, 1, 2, 3. Fastball away. And I'd write those down and see what the pitch is, and then try to decipher those signs and what pitch was actually thrown.
It's like you're the code breaker.
It is a lot like that.
Fourth walk issued by Kyle Freeland. Ketel Marte, our Chaz Roberts air conditioning and plumbing cool plays of the game. His home run in the second, his 10th consecutive extra base hit. And here they all are, tying a D-backs franchise record.
That is just a beautiful graphic. Double, home run, triple, double, 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 homer. Wow.
Pretty good.
And not to take any shots at Chris Owings, but he has 11 extra base hits on the season. Ketel Marte 1 away from having that in a row.
And that would, of course, be a new record. He now shares the record with Rockies catcher Chris Iannetta, who did it last year with the D-backs, and also Goldie Gonzo and Steve Finley. 10 consecutive extra base hits. 5 doubles, 2 triples, and 3 home runs. Freeland approaching 100 pitches in the ball game. Goldie at second, Murphy at first, 1 out. Freeland beat the Reds in Cincinnati in his previous start. That was last Tuesday. Went 6 2/3 in that start, threw 107 pitches. That's his season high. That is by Arenado and into left. Here comes Goldie. Here's the throw. It's not in time. Marte sneaks into second, and it's 2-0 D-backs.
Well, that could be an end to the streak right there. I believe this is going to be called a single, and he took second base on the throw home, but an RBI knock nonetheless for Ketel Marte.
That is a single and an RBI, so the extra base hit streak ends at 10. But Marte has knocked in both D-backs runs, and they have a chance for a big inning here. Second and third, still just 1 out. Chris Owings, the hitter. The infield comes in for Colorado. CO doubled to right center field in the second. He's 1 for 2. Arenado can't get it out of his glove. Comes home. Iannetta can't corral it. Murphy scores, and it's 3-0. Looked like a triple pump there by the Gold Glover at third, and a low throw for the catcher.
Yeah, I thought it was going to work in Arenado's favor because his momentum carried him into foul territory and cleared a throwing lane to home plate. You'll see it from this angle really well. A couple of extra steps right there, but that clears the runner. Iannetta just couldn't handle that throw. It wasn't quite in the dirt. It was very near the dirt, but just couldn't handle the throw.
Fielder's choice and an RBI for Owings makes it 3-0. Runners on the corners now for Gerard Dyson. And Iannetta has to set the infield defense.
Yeah, he's trying to let everybody know where he's going to throw the ball should Chris Owings break for second base. And once again, another set of signs. Trying to get the attention of his middle infielder so he can go through the signs and let him know where the ball will go on a stolen base attempt.
Dyson 0 for 2. There's a strike, 0-1.
But this would seem to be a great mix for that safety squeeze. You've got speed everywhere at the plate and on the bases.
All you got to do is get it down, right?
Yeah, unless you bunt it hard right back to the pitcher, but anything short of that, you're probably going to get a run.
Rockies bullpen starts to get busy. They'll keep an eye on CO at first. Marte down there at third. Jerry Vasto, a left-hander, just called up from AAA today. Started throwing in the Colorado bullpen. Pitch number 100 from Kyle Freeland. And there's the bunt attempt. It's fouled back.
And that was just a bunt attempt for a base hit right there. Marte was not streaking down the third baseline. He was waiting to see where the bunt went. That time just fouled off up that third baseline. Suicide squeeze. The runner at third is breaking for home as soon as that pitcher delivers the ball, trusting that the hitter's going to put that ball in play and let you score the run. A safety squeeze. The runner at third waits to see the ball down before breaking for home.
There's Vasto, the lefty, just up from AAA Albuquerque today. 0-2 on Dyson. Little flare out to left center. Parra runs it down. Here comes Marte. Make it 4-0 D-backs.
Diamondbacks have scored 3 runs in the inning, only 1 coming in on a base hit. The Marte single scored Paul Goldschmidt. Then you had a fielder's choice, scored a run by Chris Owings, and a sac fly by Gerard Dyson to score a run.
2 down for Devin Marrero, who's 0 for 2, third baseman today.
Marrero was robbed in his last at bat, leading off that 5th inning. Hit a rocket one hopper down there to third base that Arenado turned into a highlight video.
Yeah, he made the play, sort of stopped, read a magazine for a while, and threw to first. No problem. Oh, Ed Hickox is at it again. Yikes.
Yikes is right.
This is not good. Freeland trying to get out of the 6th inning. 3 runs are in. D-backs about hit the Colorado Rockies now, 4-3. Keep an eye on CO over there.
I didn't think the 1-0 was going to stand up. There have only been 9 1-0 games in the history.
We had one here, didn't we? I remember that. I remember us spitting that stat out a couple of years ago. No,
it says the last one was June 12, 2010.
All right, I guess not. Yeah. And Hickox will give Chris a chance to walk that one off. Boy, Freeland had retired 9 consecutive D-backs before Goldie's double to get things started in this inning. Goldie doubled, Murphy walked, Marte the RBI single, CO the fielder's choice, Dyson the sac fly, and just like that, it's 4-zip. Tried the slider and missed.
We know the Diamondbacks haven't run as much this year as we anticipated or as much as we saw last year, but this would appear to be a good time to run. 2 strikes on the hitter, you might get something in the dirt. Rocky's thinking the same way. Also, if CO would happen to get thrown out to end the inning, you've got your number 8 hitter leading off in the next inning. With the pitcher behind him, ideally Devin Marrero would reach, and then you could use Zach Godley to move him up.
25th pitch of this 6th inning on the way from Kyle Freeland. Owings holding, and Marrero takes a big cut of the slider down and strikes out. But the D-backs get 3. They lead it 4-0. 2-0 going for the 3-game sweep. Fans plan now to celebrate Independence Day at Chase Field. On July 4th, D-backs and Cardinals. We start at 7 o'clock. The roof will be open post-game for the best fireworks spectacular in town. It's presented by Gila River Hotels and Casinos. Visit dbacks.com, get your tickets. We'll see you at the ballpark for the 4th of July. It's always a great show. Zach Godley putting on a pretty good show himself here. He's retired the last 5 Rockies he's faced. He just struck out the side in the 5th. He's got 7 strikeouts in the ball game. He's given up only 3 hits. And DJ LeMahieu leads off the Colorado 6th.
And his fastball command has been much better today. His curveball command, when he's thrown it early in counts, has been good. He's been able to roll that knuckle curve in there for strikes. Huge step forward today for Zach Godley.
And with Shelby Miller making his 3rd minor league rehab start today with AA Jackson, it may have come just in time for Zach Godley. Don't know if that's going to be Shelby's final rehab start or not. They're going to wait and see how he does, and more importantly, how he feels after tonight. And then they'll figure out what they're going to do with he and Robbie Ray moving forward. All signs on the health front for the pitchers are extremely encouraging. Randall Delgado has looked great at Visalia. Robbie, by all accounts, is feeling great, throwing terrific. We've seen what Shelby has done so far in his 2 starts.
Well, we've talked about it in the past, the addition of those guys when they are healthy and ready to come back and contribute at the major league level. That's like making a huge trade at the deadline.
Getting a whole bunch of all-star caliber players, 5 or 6. LeMahieu punches it the other way, and it drops fair down the line. Just the 4th hit for Colorado, a leadoff single.
A little cue shot right off the end of the bat. Pretty good cutter working away from LeMahieu, and he just spoiled it. Stuck the bat out there and hit a little blooper down that right field line.
Charlie Blackmon has doubled and walked. That 2-seamer in a dangerous spot. Swing and a miss, 0-1. Blackmon red hot right now. Counting today, he's hit safely in 16 of his last 17 games. And during that stretch, he's hitting almost 350. It's a couple of times now that changeup has sailed on Zach like that. 1-1. 80 pitches, 50 strikes. He's walked just 1. He's got 7 strikeouts. Slapped foul. 1-2. Rockies after this one go right back out on the road. They'll play 3 in Philadelphia and 3 at Texas after today. And with the way they play here at Coors Field this year, that might not be a bad thing. Kept that curveball down, swing and a miss, and Godley gets his 8th strikeout.
You don't often get Charlie Blackmon to take a swing like that at a pitch in the dirt. That shows you how good that curveball is today for Zach Godley and how effective it is, because he's shown that he can throw it for strikes.
Nolan Arenado, 0 for 2. Still with only 1 hit in the series, a single Friday night. I always find it somewhat ironic that a guy of this caliber, in terms of being an offensive player, is named after a pitcher.
Yeah.
It's named after Nolan Ryan, Arenado's father, Fernando, fled Cuba with his family when he was just a boy. They eventually settled in the Anaheim area. And Fernando Arenado grew up a big Angels fan. They lived right near the ballpark, in fact. And so Fernando named his son Nolan after Nolan Ryan. We'll be in Anaheim actually on our next road trip coming up. 18th and 19th.
Maybe he doesn't like that name and he's taking it out on pitchers for the rest of his life.
Either way, it worked. That's for sure. He hits it about as hard as Nolan Ryan used to throw it. 2-0. No matter what you call it, this guy's got a big time payday coming his way soon. One more year of arbitration. And he's a free agent after the 2019 season. So they're already trying to figure out how to pay him. Arenado ahead, 2 balls and 1 strike. Off the handle on that curveball, and it's 3-1. Trevor Story, 2 homers last night, 3 in the series, is on deck. Godley working the 3rd time through this Rockies order. That's going to reach the seats, and it's a full count, 3-2.
To watch Zach Godley spin that baseball around out there on the mound. If you have a baseball at home, pick it up and take a look at it. There's 4 different horseshoes on a baseball, and there's 2 different what they call the 2-seam channel. And he's out there spinning the ball around trying to find which seam feels best in his hand before he throws that next pitch.
Well, he tried the 2-seamer there, but kind of overthrew it a bit, and now he's got some work to do. 2 on and 1 out, and here comes Story. The 2nd walk issued today by Zach Godley. Story is flied out and singled, 1 for 2. He's got 6 hits in the series. He's doubled and homered 3 times. Jumped on the first pitch. Oh, he did him a big favor here. Infield fly rule is called. Oh, that's a big out.
Well, that gets back to something Torrey talks about all the time, linking at bats and building an inning. You could kind of feel a little momentum sliding over toward that first base dugout after the leadoff single. The walk to Arenado looked like the Rockies might make some noise in this inning. And you get Trevor Story to chase a first pitch curveball down around his ankles.
Rockies are just 2 for 17 with runners in scoring position in this series. Now 2 on and 2 out for Parra, who has singled and lined out hard to shortstop. Marte back on the outfield grass at 2nd. Well, there are guys that have open stances, but Parra is wide open. The way he has to sort of angle his hips and the front of his body to face the pitcher because he's got that front foot so far over. Right there.
Yeah, he starts out almost square, but then he takes that big step back with the right foot.
And then that front foot moves toward home plate. Right like that. He's saying it hit him. And so is Ed Hickox. Bases full, 2 down for Ian Desmond.
Hart knew it right away. No argument from the Diamondbacks. It just caught him on that back foot. It looked like the left foot.
Silvino Bracho, who was just dynamite last night, got the win. And start to get loose in the D-back bullpen. Here comes Mike Butcher. Bracho worked 2 innings in the game last night. Struck out the side in the 7th. He was really impressive. He got the pinch hitter Talkman, then struck out LeMahieu and Blackman.
And you saw Mike Fetters when we had that shot of the Diamondbacks bullpen waving his hat into the dugout. That's the universal sign that Bracho is ready to come into the game if you want it.
One more enormous out to get for Zach Godley. Desmond has struck out twice. Last time up, he chased a curveball down. Novello on the phone. So it'll be Godley and Desmond. Bases full, 2 outs. Cutters a strike, 0-1. On the ground, and it's by Marte. LeMahieu scores. Arenado right behind. And the Rockies cut the lead in half.
Could be a cutter on that outside part of the plate. I don't know whether that was by design or by accident, but Desmond finds a hole in the right side of the field. And the Rockies score 2.
Here comes Tor Lavello. That will be it for Godley, who was terrific before some bumps here in the 6th inning. He leads responsible for 2 base runners, but holding a 4-2 lead back from Coors Field after this.
On the mound, he makes a good pitch and gets the call on the first pitch cutter, but then that curveball stays right in the middle of the plate. We talked throughout the afternoon how that curveball's been good today. He's able to throw it for strikes when he wants, bounce it when he's ahead in the count. That time he left it over the heart of the plate. Our nationwide vision, eye on the game.
And it's a good thing that was Ian Desmond, who hits a ton of balls on the ground, because that could have been a lot worse. But as it is, it's now 4-2. Silvino Bracho, who got the win last night, just outstanding. Retired all 6. He faced 4 strikeouts. He's on to face Noel Cuevas with runners in the corners and 2 outs. Cuevas 0 for 2. Bracho struck Cuevas out when he came on in the 6th inning last night.
Well, you hope Bracho's able to strand these two runners here and have Zach Godley only give up the 2 runs in this ball game. This was a huge step forward for Zach today. You'd like to see him leave as tidy as possible.
Didn't get the call that time from Ed Hickox. Pretty good pitch right there, but it's 2-0. Andrew Chafin, the left-hander, starts to warm up for the D-backs.
Only left-handed hitters available off the bench for Bud Black today, so Andrew Chafin ready just in case he drops one of those lefties in there in that pitcher spot. He'll have to drop a lefty.
Iannetta on deck, and then the pitcher behind him. 2-0. Torey Lavello's a Silvino Bracho fan. We were talking to Torey about that before the game today in his office, after that very impressive outing last night.
Unfortunately for Bracho, he's been that guy that's on the shuttle. You bring him up here, and if he pitches 2 days in a row or throws 2 innings in a day, he's usually shipped right back to Reno to get another healthy arm back up at the major league level. And because of that, I think he was constantly looking over his shoulder.
Desmond takes off with the pitch, and a tremendous job by Marte to keep that from getting into center field. And Parra has to stay put at third. That could have been a disaster.
That's the equivalent of a catcher blocking a ball in the dirt with a runner at third base. Marte kept that ball out of center field. A short hop throw into second.
That's tough. He's really good at that, too.
Yeah, it came up in front of the base. It's about the only time you want to come up in front of the base is to field that short hop and make sure it doesn't get through.
7th stolen base of the year for Desmond. Now a single can tie the ball game. 2 balls and 2 strikes on Noel Cuevas. Got him. Bracho, some high heat, and he comes in and strands 2. 4-2 D-backs as we hit the 7th.
Second base, he misses first pitch away with a fastball, second pitch up, and then just pounds away at the top of that zone with 93 and 94 mile-an-hour heaters, all of them middle of the zone or up that time against Cuevas.
Another big strikeout for Silvino Bracho. Struck out the side in the 7th last night. Strikes out the only batter there to pick up Godley and keep it a 4-2 game as we start the 7th inning. And here is the major league debut of the left-hander Jerry Vasto. Called up from AAA Albuquerque today, where he's having a very good year. 19 appearances, a 1.71 ERA. He was a 24th round draft pick by the Rockies 4 years ago out of a JUCO in Lodi, New Jersey. Felician College?
Never heard of him.
Nope.
Rutherford, New Jersey.
There you go. Christian Walker just called up today. Will bat in the pitcher spot to start the D-backs seventh.
Minor league numbers would say that Basto is a big-time strikeout pitcher. We'll see.
So the numbers on Christian from Reno, 252 and 5 homers. He was brought up today because Jeff Mathis is on the paternity list. He's about to welcome a new addition to the family. So Walker, a right-hand bat on the bench for Torrey. Well, Basto's been at Albuquerque. Walker's been in Reno most of the year, so these two guys should be familiar with each other. Christian 2 for 12 as a pinch hitter this year, including a double and a home run. Fastball in, 1-2. Yoshihisa Hirano warming up in the D-back bullpen. Rockies in the bottom half of this inning will have Iannetta the pitcher spot and LeMahieu due up 8-9-1. Walker, Jay, and Ahmed here in the top half of the D-backs. 2 balls and 2 strikes on Christian Walker. Down the line in right, but out of play. Off the mound, and that one trickles into center field. A leadoff single for Christian Walker. Just hard enough to get through that time. Brings up John Jay. Jay has walked and struck out twice. He's punched out 7 times in the series, still looking for his first D-backs base hit. Got a breaking ball in, 1-0. Long look down to third at Tony Perez-Chica. Walker takes off. He got a big jump. Iannetta's throw is off the mark. Stolen base for Christian Walker.
He's got himself a good jump. He didn't take off on first movement, but still had a good jump down there at first base. Chris Iannetta's throw skips through into shallow center field, but no chance for Walker to go on to third.
1-1 on Jay. Well, how'd you like to be a guy who's had over 160 career appearances in the minor leagues? You get called up your big league debut, and here you are at Coors Field, where they've scored 1 million runs in the previous 2 games.
You give up a hit to the first batter you face.
Yeah, nerves are going to be on edge right now. Ahead of Jay, a ball and 2 strikes. Called strike 3. Put that fastball in a nice spot, and Jay strikes out for the 3rd time today.
Basto comes in and dots that outside corner at the knees.
Here's Nick Ahmed. Good bat for Nick against the lefty. 0 for 2 with a walk so far.
Fastball right at the knees. Just a little low for Ed Hickox. The ball and a strike. Giants at Washington. They lead the Nationals 2-0. Dodgers hosting the Braves. LA has a 3-2 lead. D-backs 2.5 games clear of the field in the NL West. We've got the D-backs at 34-29. The Rockies, the Dodgers, and the Giants are all tied for second, 2.5 games back. Knicks ahead 3-1. Goldie on deck. D-backs looking for the 3-game sweep. They've won 7 straight games here at Coors Field dating back to June of last year. It's already their longest winning streak in this ballpark in club history. That one is low. Here comes Goldie. 2 on and 1 out. He has walked, doubled, and scored a run.
Good at bat by Nick right there after falling behind on a borderline strike call to begin the sequence. Managed to work his way back to 3-ball count and take the base on balls. Linking at bats.
What do you think they're telling him here? I don't know if you watched the highlights from the first 2 games of this series, Jerry, but this guy's pretty good.
Yeah, you were probably on a plane and didn't get a chance to see it, but
I don't know if they get Rockies games in Albuquerque, but avoid the middle of the plate.
Or the corners of the plate.
Or anywhere near. In fact, just put them on.
Yeah, let's just walk him.
He walked in the first, flying out to center in the third, and doubled and scored in the 6th.
Well, we laugh about it, but occasionally you'll get a young player making his major league debut, and he's pitching to Paul Goldschmidt's bubblegum card right now. I've seen this guy on the Game of the Week. He can do some serious damage.
2 nationally televised home runs for Goldie last night. That was a pretty good pitch there. Didn't get the call. It's 1-0. Goldie hammers it to left center, and that's going to reach the wall. Here comes Walker. Ahmed right behind. Goldie headed for third, and he's got a 2-run triple. Oh my goodness, Paul Goldschmidt. Unbelievable.
Well, he kept him in the yard.
Yes, he did.
Went down to get a fastball out over the plate, down below the knees, and golfs it into that gap in left center. And once again, a very half-hearted effort by Gerardo Parra. We've seen throughout this series.
Yeah.
Just jogging after balls in the gap or down the line.
6-2. Tacos.
Tacos. I'm glad to see we're getting tacos at home and on the road.
4th triple of the year for Goldie. His 2nd hit today. Here's John Ryan Murphy. Chris Russin warming up in the Rocky bullpen, infield in for Colorado. John Ryan walked and scored his last time up. He's 0 for 2. Let's see. Goldie counting today. In his last 5 games, has 15 hits, 11 of them for extra bases. That's 6 doubles, a triple, and 4 home runs.
in his last 5 games. That's in 5 games.
He's going to need a day off.
Unbelievable.
They're running the bases that much.
Murphy down 0-2. Popped up behind the mound. LeMahieu underneath. Ketel Marte got things started. A home run to lead off the second. He had an RBI single and scored a run in the 6th. For a long time, this was a 1-0 ball game. Marte hit it halfway up the seats in left field off Kyle Freeland, his 4th of the year.
One more run wouldn't hurt anything. Dusty Baker used to talk about putting a team out of slam range, where if they happen to load the bases and somebody satellites one, you still have a lead in the ball game.
This is slammed to left. Parra backing up. He got all turned around and he can't get it. Goldie is home to make it 7-2. And Marte's at second. Goodness, Gerardo Parra. That's a Gold Glover out there.
Well, Ketel Marte starting another extra base streak. Hit a single in his last at bat in the 6th inning to break the streak, and now he bangs a double to left center.
His 3rd hit today and his 3rd RBI. Don't cool Goldie off. Pitching change. Here comes Bud Black. D-backs going for the sweep. They got a 7-2 lead. D-backs here in the 7th inning. D-backs and Geico are proud to offer military and first responders ticket discounts all season long. Active and retired service members can enjoy up to 50% off of select locations for every game of the year. For more, visit dbacks.com/military. Thank you for your service. Chris Russin, the left-hander, is on for Colorado. Saw him pitch 2 innings in the series opener Friday night. His ERA, it's been a rough year, is almost 8.
He's allowed 7 home runs in just over 26 innings of work this year.
So we got a double switch, some moves for Bud Black, as Ryan McMahon takes over at first base, and Ian Desmond goes out to right field. I'll check that left field. Parra goes to right field. So there's McMahon at first. Parra now in right and Desmond in left. Chris Owings has a double and an RBI today. 1 for 3.
For a minute there, I was having flashbacks to when Bud Black was the Padres manager, and he would change his outfielders every half inning.
Yeah, just to keep him honest, you know. Move the right fielder to left, move the center fielder to right, and bring in a guy off the bench. Seemed like every time he changed pitchers, he'd switch the outfielders.
Every time you looked up, Chris Denorfia was in a different position. One and one on CO. This is the way things have gone for this Rockies bullpen. It's 3 balls and a strike. Jarrod Dyson on deck.
Boy, and it has to be especially upsetting to Bud Black, who before he became a manager was widely recognized as one of the best pitching coaches in the game. Really having trouble finding the right mix of guys to send out there and try to get outs for the Rockies.
The bullpen it's been one meltdown after another. Last night was Colorado's 19th loss after leading in the game. That's the most in the National League. And as we mentioned the other day, this is after the front office spent more than $100 million on the bullpen this winter.
Well, and as I mentioned earlier in the ball game, nothing will separate a team quicker than a bullpen that can't close out wins.
Rockies' last 7 losses, the bullpen has blown the game 6 times. And Russin comes in, walks Owings. In the 6th and 7th inning this year, the Rockies have given up 58 more runs than they've scored. Woo. That's all you need to know about their pen.
And you combine that with the fact that the Rockies have scored 59 first inning runs, by far leading the major league. So they've had a lead in a lot of ball games that the bullpen just couldn't hang on to.
2 on and 2 out for Dyson, who knocked in a run with a sac fly his last time up. Let's counter that with what we've seen from D-backs relievers in the first 2 games of this series. 7 1/3 scoreless innings. They've given up only 3 hits. Night and day difference. 1-0 on Dyson. Yoshi Hirano still warming up in the D-back bullpen. Ionetta, McMahon, LeMahieu due up in the Colorado 7th. One and 2. Dyson, the 8th man to bat here in the D-backs 7th inning. Last night they batted around in that 6-run 8th. Cue shot foul. D-backs have won 8 of their last 11. They've hit 22 home runs over that span, including 7 homers in the first 2 games of this series. 1 home run today. That was Marte to lead off the second. 1 ball and 2 strikes on Gerard Dyson.
Now, the way the ball was flying the first 2 games of the series at night, I expected there to be about 15 home runs hit in this game today. Very hot here at Coors Field, and pitchers have done a nice job of keeping the ball in the ballpark, but certainly not what we expected when we got here today.
No, there's still time.
Yeah.
Dyson chases a slider, and that's the strikeout.
Twice knocked into. 7-2 D-backs going for the 3-game sweep here at Coors Field. D-backs fans, don't forget, if you can't watch the games on TV, you can stream them live on your mobile device. Use Fox Sports Go. It's brought to you locally by your Valley Honda dealers. Download the free app. Take Fox Sports Arizona and your D-backs with you wherever you go. Yoshihisa Hirano was on to work the home half of the 7th inning. Yoshi's 31st appearance of the year. Saw him work 1 inning of the game here Friday night.
That's pretty much standard operating procedure for Torey Lovullo. You've got the 8, 9, and 1 hitters due up for the Colorado Rockies. That's usually Hirano's part of the opposing lineup.
I'll give you a scenario here.
Okay.
Let's say Yoshi retires. He's got Iannetta, McMahon, LeMahieu, Blackman, right? He retires 3 of those 4.
That's going to get you to the bottom of the 8th inning. That's going to be Arenado up there, who is the quote-unquote Goldie retaliation target, facing, I'm guessing, Archie Bradley, if we go according to script. And Archie was the one that said hitting Goldie last night was Bush League and he wouldn't stand for it.
Yeah.
So there is that kind of lurking. We'll see how Yoshi works it out here, but it's still sitting there.
Yeah, it is still sitting there. Some uncertainty, but you know, the fact that the Diamondbacks seemingly are going to cruise to the finish line here against this Rockies team, sweep this series. Let's move along.
I'm with you.
Guys have long memories. Many times things like this are taken care of in the Cactus League. You owe somebody, you let it fester for a year or two, but then you finally get your opportunity for payback. You know, a lot of guys would say, hey, if you're going to get them today. But we'll see what happens.
There's something to be said for letting it linger a bit. But I agree with you. If you can hang on and win this, go home clean. Get out clean. You got the sweep. Awesome. We don't need to get bogged down in that kind of stuff. But as you said, we'll see. Iannetta, there's the Chris Iannetta classic, excuse me, check swing hit. That happens to him more than any other player in baseball. It's amazing. Didn't mean to do it, but it's out number one.
Get those hands started, get that bat down near the hitting zone, and then try to check your swing, and the ball finds wood.
So Chris 0 for 3. Here's first at bat for Ryan McMahon, who took over at first base. 207 on the year. McMahon drove in a run last night with a pinch hit sacrifice fly. Here's the splitter. Way outside, and it's a ball and a strike on Ryan McMahon. Very well regarded Rockies prospect. Only 23 years old. Second round pick in the 2013 draft out of high school, Santa Ana, California. McMahon drafted as a third baseman. He's shown some power in the minor leagues. He's yet to hit a big league home run. He's played in just under 60 games. Yoshi had a ball and 2 strikes. On a hop. Nice stop by Marte at second. 2 down. Let's go down to Jody.
Talking to Torey Lovella the other day about Hirano pitching for the first time here at Coors Field. Just one of many things he's made great adjustments to all season long. And said Trevor Story, you know, came to the plate the other day and hit the ball hard, the split finger that didn't break. And they talked about it, and he made some adjustments. And one of many things you're going to have to learn pitching in the NL West. And they just rave about the way he's been able to learn on the fly all season long.
Yeah, Jody Story hit that double to left center to lead it off against Toronto in the 8th inning Friday night. He seems like a very chill guy, Yoshi.
Yeah. And, you know, takes coaching very well for a veteran player. He can make adjustments because he is a veteran player. And the biggest adjustment you have to make pitching in Coors Field is just change your target. If you expect your breaking ball to break 12 inches, it's probably only going to break 6 or 7 inches, so adjust accordingly where you start that pitch. Same thing for Yoshi Splitter. Doesn't get the same kind of dive bomb action in the hitting zone as it normally would, so start it a little bit lower. There's a splitter right here.
Lifted up and in. Goldie one more time. Runs out of room. It's in the second row. Yoshi had a ball and 2 strikes. D-backs this year 4-1 against the Rockies, trying to make it 5-1. Get out of here with a 3-game sweep. Back home tomorrow at Chase Field. dbacks.com/tickets. 3 against the Pirates and 4 against the Mets. Patrick Corbin goes tomorrow at Chase Field against Pittsburgh's Joe Musgrove. Clay Buchholz and Trevor Williams on Tuesday. Day game Wednesday, Zach Greinke versus Jameson Taillon. And the Mets are in for 4. Popped up. There we go again. Behind the dugout. Charlie Blackmon has doubled and walked. Bases empty, 2 outs, 2-2 on DJ LeMahieu. You know, Steve Gilbert was, I was chatting up with Steve Gilbert, the fine D-backs beat writer for MLB.com, in the press box yesterday, because you and I were off, so I was here watching the game, and Steve was telling me he really enjoyed the way that you used to always go DJ LeMahieu.
LeMahieu.
That's Steve's favorite. 3-2. Called strike 3. Ring him up. Yoshi comes in, works a 1-2-3-7. D-backs lead the Rockies 7-2. In fact, this was a 1-0 Coors Field ball game. Ketel Marte's homer to lead off the second was all the scoring for a while, but since then the D-backs 3 in the 6th and 3 in the 7th. Zach Godley pitched very well here today. Goldie is at it again, a double and a triple, and so it's 7-2. Archie Bradley is warming up in the D-backs bullpen with Nolan Arenado due up second in the bottom of the 8th inning. Devin Marrero will lead it off. Pitcher spot behind him, and Daniel Descalso is in the on-deck circle. Russin back out there for Colorado. Here's a ball. Marrero 0 for 3. He's grounded out twice, struck out. Devin could really use a hit going all the way back to May 2nd, more than a month now. He is 2 for 31 up there. Russin's all over the place here. 2 balls and a strike.
A couple times on Friday night we saw Chris Russin use that quick pitch out of the windup. This might be a time he'll try it against Devin Marrero. A 2-strike count. Try to quickly deliver that ball home and catch Marrero unaware.
Cutter got away from him. Now it's a full count, 3 balls and 2 strikes. Descalso will be next. There's the 2-seamer. Guerrero strikes out. He's 0 for 4. Well, all left-handers on the bench for Torey Lovullo. He used his right-hand bat in Christian Walker. And so you've got Peralta down there and Lamb. We'll see Descalso here against the lefty Russell. 256 and 7 home runs. Daniel singled, doubled, and knocked in a run Friday. Walked twice and scored last night. Punches that one the other way by Arenado. A 1-out base runner now for John Jay.
I can see John Jay will break that seal here, get his first D-backs hit.
Yeah, struck out in each of his last 3 at bats.
John Jay has a lot of room on both sides of the field here, with McMahon holding on the runner at first base, LeMahieu and Story both cheating close to the bag at second, and Arenado playing very deep and well off the line at third. Lots of holes in that infield defense right now.
Well, that's a good shot to give you a sense of how big that outfield is. All that room out there.
Yeah, from right center field to left center field, the fence kind of cuts straight across, but you know, those 2 little corners out there in right center and left center, if a ball is hitting that area, you got to run a long way to get to it, and then it's 2 long throws to get the ball back into the infield.
There's a 3-0 strike. Hey, you think about Coors Field, you think home runs, and based on the first 2 games of the series, you know why, but it's also balls dropping in front of outfielders, getting in the gaps, down the lines, doubles and triples. Full count, 3-2.
I mean, if you talk to this Rockies pitching staff, instead of a humidor, they probably feel like they should just soak the game balls in a bucket of water. Anything to keep it in the yard here. And I think we've seen in this series and the past couple of years, if you hit it well, it's going to go. Humidor or no humidor. And in this ballpark, it's going to go a long way. But I think the humidors eliminated some of those cheaper home runs.
We got a balk.
Balk call.
Well, they tried that a couple years ago. Remember, they raised that bullpen fence out there. That used to be a much shorter fence. Now you've got those bullpens in right center. A nice tall fence out there. Descalso at second now. 1 out, 3-2 on John Jay. Off the glove of Russin. Story comes in from shortstop. And they get Jay. Descalso moves into third. Yeah, the cheapies were the ones they were trying to prevent a line drive home run that would go over that short wall in right center, so they put up that big fence out there by the bullpens. Nick Ahmed. I need a hit from Nick. I got him for beat the streak.
Ooh.
Yeah, he's walked twice, scored a run. But 0 for 2. Trying to get up to a big 6 right now.
I got Freddie Freeman in the book with a home run today, but Trey Turner's 0 for 3.
We're back on the Trey Turner bandwagon, huh?
Yeah, just tried something different.
I figured Nick, he's got Goldie behind him in there against a lefty, batting second. He's going to get a bunch of at-bats, Coors Field. Good pick for today. Coming off a big game for Nick last night. Doubled twice and homered. Trying to get Descalso home from third with 2 outs. Archie Bradley sitting down now in the D-back bullpen.
have already hit for the pitcher, Hirano.
That just means Archie's ready to go. He gets 8 more warm-up pitches when he gets out to the game mound, and figures to be enough for Archie. If the inning gets extended, goes a little bit longer, he might start throwing again, but right now he's ready to go.
TJ McFarland starting to perk up a bit as well. Mike Fetter's the bullpen coach down there. Ahmed, get through.
Yeah.
There it is.
There you go.
Descalso scores, and the D-backs lead at 8-2. Clutch.
You got to get those hits and beat the streak.
They all count and beat the streak. It doesn't matter what they look like. Nice job. 2-out base hit, driving in a run. Nice going, Nick. Plus, it gets Goldie to the plate.
He has doubled and tripled in his last 2 at-bats. The king of our graphics, by the way, Paul Krause, I believe, was up to 17 today.
Wow.
That's the word from the truck. I don't know who he had today. How's Paul doing down there? Do we know? Oh, fake news. It's 50.
50.
Well, that's still unbelievably impressive. Brad, the big dog Weimer, who was, I think he's up to 2. After a heartbreaker the other day.
There's a lot of that heartbreak going around.
Trey Turner just pop up or something?
Well, no, I don't know.
He's over there trying to fix the iPad.
1-2 to Goldie. Here's another one for you. D-backs right now have out-hit Colorado 9-5. One more hit, and the Rockies will have given up double-digit hit totals in 12 straight games. And now you're getting into record-setting territory. 2-2. Goldie blasts one to center. Blackman is there. Backs add a run. They lead at 8-2, going for the 3-game sweep at Colorado. And he will bat 9th. Goldie's got the rest of the day off. Pitcher spot now third in the D-backs order. It's the left-hander T.J. McFarland. What's next brought to you by CenturyLink. We are back home at Chase Field for 3 against the Pittsburgh Pirates starting tomorrow night. D-backs Live pregame show comes your way straight up at 6 o'clock. Patrick Corbin against right-hander Joe Musgrove, and then Buck Holtz and Greinke Tuesday and Wednesday. That Wednesday game is a getaway day game for the Pirates. Get you a matinee price on your ticket at dbacks.com. Here's TJ on to work the 8th inning. Charlie Blackmon leads it off for Colorado. For the Rockies, here's Descalso at first. Colorado looking down the barrel of a 4th straight loss. This would be 8 of 10 for the Rockies. They would drop below 500 for the year. And they would drop 8 games below 500 at home.
Just as a point of comparison, the Diamondbacks against the National League West this year, 19 and 10. The Rockies 13 and 17.
Marte at second.
Talk all the time about how important it is to win those head-to-head matchups against teams in your own division. You gain a full game every time you beat one of those teams, and this is not what the Rockies had in mind for this homestand.
And remember last year when the D-backs won 93 games, they won the season series against every other team in the NL West. Well, here's Arenado. It's not the Bradley-Arenado matchup we thought might happen, but we'll see what TJ does here. Arenado walked and scored his last time up. He's 0 for 2. D-backs won Friday's opener 9-4. A wild one last night with that 6-run 8th inning. They beat the Rockies 12-7, and they lead this one 8-2. Boy, those numbers make May seem like it was 10 years ago. Came in with a fastball that time. Arenado able to scoot out of the way.
You know, we're not sure. I assume we would have been told if warnings had been issued before the game started, and Major League Baseball will do that. If they anticipate bad blood between two teams, they'll go ahead and issue a warning before the game even starts. We weren't notified that that had happened, so I don't think there's any warnings in place at this point.
Well, if TJ was trying to hit him with that previous pitch, he missed. So it's 2-1. Now why is it that fans may be wondering that people are anticipating it's Arenado who's going to get plunked because it was Goldie for the D-backs?
Now you hit our best hitter, we hit your best hitter, best player, period. And not only that, but Nolan Arenado is going to go back to his clubhouse if he happens to get thumped.
Reaches out and pokes it to second for Marte.
And he's going to get on his own pitching staff. Hey, every time you clowns drill one of their players, I'm the one that gets drilled the next day, so knock it off. That's how you get it to stop.
It was Brooks Pounders who hit Goldie in the 9th inning last night. Here's Trevor Story, 1 for 3 with a single. He's got 3 home runs in the series. So even though it's Story who's done most of the damage in the series for Colorado, it's Arenado who's sort of the Goldie equivalent.
Yeah, you know, the totem pole of value of players to a team, I think Arenado would be well above Trevor Story at this point in their respective careers, and certainly Goldie for what he's accomplished in his career and what he's done in this series, he would be the guy that the Rockies would target.
He's had a career in this series.
Yeah, he has. You know, back in the day, I remember talking to guys that played even well before I did. If you wanted to get a pitcher, instead of drilling one of the position players, bunt the ball to first base, make the pitcher go over there and cover the bag, and run right up his back as he's over there to cover first base. I've seen that happen. If you hit a guy and he goes down to first base, George Scott was notorious for this back in the day. You hit George Scott, he would yell out at the middle infielders, "I'm coming to get you, and you can blame him," and point at the pitcher. And those middle infielders had real light feet out there at second base when Big George was coming in.
And of course, the Boomer used to wear that big necklace. I remember Joe Garagiola asked him one time what it was made out of. He said second baseman's teeth.
Yeah. Woo. Well, that's one way you can get the other team to police themselves. You get enough second basemen flipped out there on double play attempts.
And guys still go hard into that bag at second.
Oh, yeah.
Despite the Chase Utley rule.
Yeah. I mean, you can still go hard into second base as long as it's clean, right into the bag. You don't slide past the base. You can still go hard into second.
As long as it's what they call a bona fide attempt to slide and you're not changing your path to go at the fielder. 1-2 on Story.
Of course, back in the day of George Scott, you didn't even have to slide on a double play attempt. You could literally go into second base and throw a roll block into the middle infielder.
Al McRae.
And you didn't have to be close to the bag.
Those were the good old days.
Good old days.
2-2. Well, we're just being facetious there, but I think there's a fair amount of people or ex-players who agree that those were the good old days because of those things. Some guys don't like the. We can't have players getting hurt. I mean, it just doesn't do anybody any good.
Well, the entire game has changed so much. Players changing from team to team almost on a yearly basis. You don't have the same kind of venom build up year to year when you're playing against the same 25 guys 5 years in a row.
Marrero at third. Story made it close and he beats it out. He runs pretty well, Trevor Story. That was a long throw from Marrero, almost from that outfield grass.
Yeah, playing very deep down there at third base.
That's an infield single.
The first attaboy I ever got from my first manager in the big leagues, Frank Robinson, was because I broke up a double play. The other catcher in our platoon, Milt May, walked to lead off an inning. 1-run ball game, and Frank was going to put me into pinch run, and he grabbed me before I left the dugout, and he said, "Don't let him turn two." So ground ball to Tommy Herr, and I went elbows over kneecaps into Ozzie Smith at second base, and he threw the ball away at first. And when I got back to the dugout, the first and maybe only time, Frank patted me on the back and said, "Way to go, kid."
I got 8 who aren't afraid. Gerardo Parra.
I got to tell you, it's been a little disturbing to watch Gerardo Parra in this series. He was such a max effort, 100% all the time guy when he played for the Diamondbacks. I don't recall ever seeing him jog after a ball in the outfield.
He's taken, and not only that, too, that's effort. He's taken some interesting routes to balls as well. Descalso has that. TJ gets us to the 9th inning. It's 8-2 D-backs. The Rockies 8-2. And secure your tickets for some upcoming giveaways at Chase Field. Got some big ones coming up. Father's Day,
Hawaiian shirt, that's a week from today, next Sunday. The D-backs duffel bag on June 30th against the Giants. That's a must-have item. And the Jake Lamb bobble, July 21st. Visit dbacks.com. See all the giveaway dates this year and get your tickets. Got a 7-game homestand starting tomorrow, Pirates and Mets. Another major league debut for a Rocky reliever. That's how things are going in the Colorado bullpen. This is the left-hander Sam Howard, the 3rd-round pick by the Rockies 4 years ago out of Georgia Southern.
Born in Cartersville, Georgia. Pretty good minor league numbers. The 1-loss record, not great, but striking out just about a batter per inning. 4-to-1 strikeout to walk ratio at the minor league level.
Just called up from AAA Albuquerque yesterday. His numbers there. John Ryan Murphy leads off the D-backs 9th inning. It's one pretty deep right field. Parra has it just shy of the track. And Sam Howard's big league career is underway. Here's Ketel Marte, who's had a big day, a home run, an RBI single and an RBI double. He scored twice, knocked in 3. D-backs lead at 8-2, but for the first 5 innings, it was a 1-0 ball game. Marte's homer to lead off the second was the only scoring. But then the D-backs got 3 in the 6th and 3 more in the 7th. They added a run in the 8th. That'll back up Story at shortstop. He is really good defensively. And Trevor Story, you think only about the home runs and the strikeouts, but he is among the best defensive shortstops in the league.
Occasionally he'll get a little casual on that ball that he comes in on, and he just kind of continues to run and throw on the move. Now occasionally shortstop has to do that. That's the only play you have, is to scoop and throw all in one motion while you're running across the middle of the infield. But occasionally Story does it even when he's got plenty of time to set his feet and throw.
There's Chris Owings. Yeah, Story, if you look at the defensive metrics, was the best shortstop in the league last year. Of course, Nick missed most of the season, and Crawford was out for a while in San Francisco.
San Francisco still leading the Nationals 2-0 in the 7th. The 2 runs, a Brandon Crawford home run.
Boy, he's on fire right now. Dodgers have a 6-2 lead over the Braves in LA. They're in the 7th inning. And one thing that's interesting about the division, the San Diego Padres, they won at Miami today 3-1. You know, they're only a handful of games back. They're in last place, but I think it's like 5 games out, maybe less than
5.5 going into play today.
Yeah. So San Diego's playing pretty well lately. Something about this weird schedule. This is our first trip here all year. We've only seen the Padres once. We haven't even been to Petco Park yet. But we played the Dodgers every day in April, so figure that out. Owings sends one toward the corner, and that's in there for a fair ball. CO, who doubled in the 2nd, doubles here in the 9th. Good day for Chris. 2 doubles, a walk, and an RBI.
Stayed right on this one. Got a pitch out over the plate. Got some backspin on that ball down the right field line. Or just gives up, plays it on a hop off the wall. Knows that's going to be a sure double.
And that is 10 hits for the Diamondbacks, meaning Colorado has given up double-digit hit totals in 12 straight games. That extends the longest streak in their history, and the longest streak for any team in the majors since the 2008 Seattle Mariners. Gerard Dyson. D-backs have out-hit Bud Black's ball club 10-6. They lead at 8-2. And Dyson with a chance to tack on another run right here.
Great baseball weather all weekend here in Denver. Another big crowd here today, over 36,000. Rockies are averaging about 35,000 per home game this year.
Yeah, they have really good support here. Just about 39,000 Friday night, over 43,000 last night. They're into it here.
And this was a perfect weekend for baseball. Just absolutely ideal weather. Maybe a little bit warm for some of the fans sitting down in the sun, but perfect to play baseball.
One and two. Rockies in the bottom of the ninth inning will have Desmond, the pitcher spot, and Iannetta do up 6, 7, and 8 against TJ McFarland. This is rolled to second. LeMahieu has it. And we hit the bottom of the ninth inning. D-backs going for the sweep. They lead at 8-2. Live shot of the Rocky Mountains. D-backs lead at 8-2 as we hit the bottom of the ninth inning. TJ McFarland back out there. It'll be Ian Desmond, then the pitcher spot, then Chris Iannetta. 6, 7, and 8 for Colorado. Desmond had a 2-run single his last time up. Well, the Rockies are really in it right now. This is going to hurt. Unless something changes, this will be 7 straight losses at home. And they will have given up at least 7 runs in every one of those games.
Unless something changes, they'll go to 11-19 here at Coors Field this year. They're 21-14 on the road.
1-1 off of TJ. He kind of muffled that one, and Desmond is going to reach. Let's see if TJ's okay.
Not sure how much of that was taken off the throwing hand. You can see him flexing that left hand there as he walks back toward the mound. Just in self-defense, he throws up both hands. It looks like it caught all throwing hand.
Now there's Ryan DePanfilo. We've seen enough of Dippy this year to sink a ship. Ryan, by the way, people are familiar with Ryan. See him all the time every time something like this. You know, Torrey organizes the basketball games for the coaches on every road trip. They go to they play at some great facilities. They go to some NBA practice facilities. They go to big-time college stadiums, but Ryan is by far, I'm told, the best player. He just never misses.
Well, he's probably the youngest player too. That has something to do with it.
Big advantage. And you know, Leo Gilmartin is very good, but Torrey says Dippy, he just doesn't miss. He just fills it up. Nobody can guard him. He's the best player on the floor. Hopefully TJ's okay.
He's going to say he's okay, good to go. Passed all the tests for the trainer, Ryan DePanfilo. Made a few warm-up pitches. Didn't throw any off the top of the backstop, so he's good.
So here's Mike Tauchman to hit for the pitcher, Howard. Tauchman 0 for 2 as a pinch hitter in this series and 3 for 31 this year. .31 at bats for Tauchman. He's got 15 strikeouts. And this is a guy who was voted the Rockies MVP in spring training this year. Had a huge spring, made the opening day roster. Rockies 7 straight losses at home would tie a Coors Field record. They did it back in 2012 and 2016, lost 7 straight home games. The franchise record is 9 consecutive home losses. That was at Old Mile High back in 1993. Two and one on Mike Tauchman. Double play ball. Ahmed. Marte. Tauchman runs well, and he's able to beat it out.
Yeah, once again, just not really hit hard enough to turn 2 that time. Nick picked a good hop, came in and scooped and shoveled onto Ketel Marte in pretty good shape right there. But as you mentioned, Tauchman runs pretty well out of that left-handed batter's box, able to beat it out.
Yeah, that's one of the things they like about Mike Tauchman, his speed. He's a very good base runner. So 1 out, Tauchman at first, and here's Chris Iannetta. Chris 0 for 3. Well, this Coors Field thing has really sort of turned on its tenants here. While the Rockies are about to lose their 7th straight game here at home, this will be the 8th consecutive win for the D-backs at Coors Field. That dates back to June of last year. So it's an upside down world for these guys in purple. Archie Bradley still stirring down there. McFarland behind 3-1. Ryan McMahon on deck.
How about a double play to end this thing?
That's TJ's specialty.
Yeah, Chris Iannetta's grounded into 7 this year, tied with Nolan Arenado for the team lead, and TJ McFarland is a ground ball machine.
That's blasted to left center. Off the base of the wall. Tauchman on the run. He's going to come around and score. And Iannetta has an RBI double. That ball was smoked.
Pretty much right in the middle of the plate that time, about knee high, maybe a little above the knees, and Ionetta just punishes it to that gap in left center field. Thought they might have a play on Tauchman at home plate, but we talked about his speed, and he really accelerated between second and third.
Pitching change at Coors Field back after this. Is ever safe, no matter how big at Coors Field. And so Archie Bradley is on to get the final 2 outs, his 32nd appearance of the year.
Yeah, we showed you a couple of innings ago, Archie was warmed up and ready to come into the ball game, and then had a seat as TJ McFarland was the guy that came in out of the bullpen first. But now Archie's going to get an opportunity here to close this thing out with 1 out in the ninth.
The run is in on the Ionetta double. That's the first run the D-backs bullpen has given up in 10 innings of relief. He's at second, 1 out, and the batter is Ryan McMahon. Rockies began this day in a 3-way tie for second, 2.5 games behind the D-backs for the NL West lead. Colorado looking like they're going to go down and lose today. In the meantime, the Giants are still leading at Washington 2-0 in the 8th inning. Dodgers lead the Braves 7-2. They're in the 8th in LA. Archie's got it. Brought about third. He'll get the sure out as Ionetta moves up. Here's DJ LeMahieu. Jody Jackson standing by. D-backs live post-game show follows our ball game here on Fox Sports Arizona. We'll hear from the skipper Torey Lovullo. It'll be a happy flight back to Phoenix after this one, where we open up a 7-game homestand, first of 3 against the Pirates tomorrow night. dbacks.com/tickets. We'll see you down there. Your first place D-backs about to move 6 games over 500. Descalso smothers it at first, and the D-backs have the sweep. 8-3 the final. They've won 9 of 12. That's 8 straight wins here at Coors. And in sweeping all 3 games, they outscore the Rockies 29-14.
Just an outstanding series here in Colorado, not only for the pitching staff holding this high-powered Rockies offense down, but boy, did the offense show up in this series. That was fun to watch.
It was a whole lot of fun.
and they had another big one today. An impressive outing for Zach Godley as well. Let's not lose sight of that. The bullpen took care of business again. Goldie, a double and a triple. What else is new? It all adds up to an 8-3 D-backs win as they come into Colorado and sweep 3 from the Rockies. The brooms are out as we head back home, but first, it's D-backs Live, brought to you by CenturyLink. Coming up next.